Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please take a seat and make yourself comfortable. It's my pleasure welcoming you for the Proximus Showcase event, ThinkThings. And it's also my pleasure being your host. My name is Virginie Claes. It's great to have so many people here to share ideas, to meet and to talk, because exactly, instead of only being a spectator today, please do not hesitate to be an actor and to continue to share your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Because when we say think things, we are thinking about demonstrations on how, for example, business creativity really gets translated and materialized in concrete applications and projects. So that's what we will be discussing today. I hope you're ready. Well, actually, Proximus promised me a very enthusiastic audience. Are you ready? Yes, that's the spirit, because that's how, for example, collaboration is starting, by getting together, by sharing, ladies and gentlemen. And not only how collaboration is starting, but also how great ideas are sparked, even sparked into something bigger. I think that's one of the secret ingredients of Proximus' recipe, bringing people together. And correct, that's also what I've learned, is that together we really achieve more. So I was wondering, why am I standing alone on stage? Indeed, please join me in welcoming my co-host for today, Alex Lorette. Welcome, dear Alex Lorette.
Hello,
we have
Virginie.
a real enthusiastic audience today, I can assure you. But what I was thinking, so Proximus is bringing people together. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is also the first time we are standing together on stage. So
yes.
Maybe not only for me, but for all those who are eager to find out more about ThinkThings. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
With great pleasure. So, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. For the ones not knowing me, I'm Alex. I'm leading the enterprise solutions team within Proximus. So today I will co-host most part of the event with Virginie, but I'm not alone, even I'm standing here alone on stage. There are a lot of colleagues that are very enthusiastic about doing demos and interacting with you, also after our plenary session and during the break. So maybe a few words of welcome from a Proximus point of view. Sometimes it's also good to look a bit at the past, and you have to know the first ThinkThings event, we held it more than 10 years ago. It was at that time a very small event. We were talking with a kind of 100 people about nice potentialities of connecting objects and doing asset tracking and this kind of stuff. And over the years we grew also with the solution setup we were proposing to you, but also in the number of attendants. And today we bring you this special event where we not only will speak about IoT and AI, but also a lot about innovation around cloud, cybersecurity, workplace and other fancy stuff we do together with the teams, with the partners and with our subsidiaries. So this year is a special year. It's very great to see you here being present. Last year, at the same time, we were here as well in Necker Hall. Actually, due to COVID, we were alone, or like 30 people in a cold, freezing space, just doing, the event and streaming. So it's really great to have you here all present, and I hope you will enjoy the content, but I also hope that you will enjoy the physical interactions and the conversation we might have also after the plenary session. That's it.
Yes, indeed, because we will have a fun part, a networking part, we have our business partners, and you have a lot of content to share. If I'm not mistaken, we will kick off now, ladies and gentlemen, with 7 important ingredients from Proximus recipe. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Virginie. So maybe to start, yes, 2022 was a very special year for all of us. We had COVID, we had the new situation in political situation in war in Ukraine. We saw also a lot of climate change impact, also impacting a lot our business actually. And from our perspective, discussing with a lot of customers, this is something we see very prominently in all the conversation, actually disruption is coming and is touching all the sectors. It's touching the industry with really rising prices of materials, rising prices of wages, problem of shortages on materials. It's rising also, and it's touching other sectors like retail, where you have the consumption power of people just going down and people having changed their habits and the way they buy digitally or physically. So how can we cope with that? It touched a lot real estate for the construction part, because the price of materials and price of manpower are an issue, but also real estate from a consumption or usage point of view, because we all see around of us semi-empty buildings with a lot of workplace being used in an inefficient way, with a lot of energy being consumed in an inefficient way, and so on and so forth. So I could give you all these examples and all the sectors go through it in all details. That's not the intention. For us, the message, it's clearly a disruption that touches everybody in different dimensions and different aspects. Now, the good news about it is that we think that at least for a part of it, digital can really help overcoming these challenges. If you start with some combinations, 5G, fiber, cloud, and cybersecurity becomes critical ingredients to allow companies to work and go on working in the new normal, with a lot of people being remote, being not on site anymore. So it's quite critical to get very fast and efficient connectivity, but also cloud access and hyper-secure infrastructure. If you look at IoT and AI, we will bring this use case today. We see very nice use case where we can really use these technologies to make our buildings much more efficient in the usage we make out of them. We have also launched 5G this year, and if you look at the possibilities of 5G combined with machine and computer vision, sometimes also with drones, it comes with a lot of use case to do logistics and also Industry 4.0 in a new way. And then finally, to please and to interact with our customers, all of us, in a different way, we have next-gen com digital media that really allows us to communicate with our customer and to bring them into a phygital environment. So not only digital, not only physical, but really trying to mingle these two aspects. Now, if you can move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. What is our strategy? We have 4 pillars in our strategy at Proximus. The first one, we will talk a bit about it today, but actually we will more focus on the second one and also on the fourth one. The first one is, of course, we need to have very strong networks. That's why we invest so much in fiber. That's why we invest so much also in 5G. And we have there putting assets either in the ground, but also the spectrum we got for 5G are really the insurance that we keep our leadership in this super fast network. Just to give you an idea, we are investing 10 billion in fiber, and our ambition is to connect 70% of all population, including businesses, within the 5 coming years. Every 15 seconds, we connect a new site with fiber, just to give you an idea of the order of magnitude. A bit the same for mobile. We have been through the mobile spectrum auctioning this summer. We acquired more than half of the available spectrum. It's very important for us because it's also the guarantee that we will keep our network supremacy, the highest network quality we can deliver to our customers. Then we'll talk a lot today about how to operate digitally. We apply it to ourselves, but the whole ambition we have in EBU and in B2B is to help you, our customers, to also operate in a more digital manner. It comes also along with a profitable growth. And as a fourth pillar, our strategy is also inducing to do a lot of actions to act for a green and more sustainable society. We will also come back to this in the second part of the plenary session. So, to be able to do all that and to really be your partner in digital transformation, we need to provide you more than networks, assets, and technologies. So, our aim is also to help you in really doing this transition by helping you in advisory services. So sometimes it's even, let's say, strategic advisory. Where do I need to go with my cloud strategy? What do I need to do with my cybersecurity strategy? And then as of the moment this vision is clearly made, we are also there to make the full transition with you, starting from technical advisory to implementation and then really running services. And today on stage we will have some customers giving testimonies about the way they use Proximus to actually outsource a big part of their operations in a more efficient way. So for doing this, it's a lot, and of course we are not alone. We rely on subsidiaries, so we have invested consistently over the years in a strong network of smaller and what we call the speedboats, very efficient and focused companies around cybersecurity, around cloud. We are active both in Belgium, Netherlands and Luxembourg. And also what's important is this network of Proximus and subsidiaries is complemented by an important number of business partners. You see that in the demo area at the other side of the zone. There is a lot about Proximus, but also a lot about partners, because we believe that the transition is so complex that we need to do it in an open ecosystem way. It's something that we will do and proceed further. Now, looking a bit at 2002 and focusing also a bit more on the IoT part maybe of the network to start, we reached actually an interesting number of connected devices on cellular technology. So it's gained a lot over the year. Now we are at 3.7 million connected devices. I'm expecting the moment where there will be more connected devices than people is going to become a very interesting momentum. So we gain in traction. We, of course, launched also our first 5G projects. So we have a very interesting use case in logistics, but also in industry. So in the south, we have the A6K hub, we have Ho-West, we have Fabrique Logistique in Ghent. We also equipped, and maybe you saw this in the news, Haven van Antwerp, the port of Antwerp, with drone solutions that will really monitor the whole area, with drones being automatically flying 24/7 with some drone stations. So very nice and innovative use case. We did also a lot in cloud. This year we started a new strategic partnership with HCL, and we will see together what we do in terms of sovereign cloud, but also hybrid cloud. Cybersecurity is also an important element for us, for which we actually complemented our portfolio. So besides the big security as a service project we do, we also launched new solutions for the lower end of the market, so for the SME customers, and we are now busy preparing a full new MDR ecosystem approach for the mid-sized customer. So that's it in a few, I would say in a few slides, all what we are busy with. And of course, we will zoom in on all these topics with more details during the session. And now, Virginie, I hand it over to you.
Thank you for this introduction. Very nice to hear that in this disrupted geopolitical, energy, societal and health environment that Proximus is really willing to build together on the strength of the future. And also, as you mentioned, we have a lot of challenges to tackle. We'll talk cybersecurity, for example, and cloud later on. But let's start with 5G and the added value it has, because I have the impression you really have the think possible attitude here, ladies and gentlemen. Not my words, but the words of the three examples we would like to share. And the first example is the port of Antwerp. So the port Antwerp-Bruges is one of the largest in the world. And of course, to defend that position, they have a great innovation team working on innovative projects, but especially services. And to do so, they're working with 5G, IoT, and going digital all the way. So maybe we can invite, ladies and gentlemen, that person that can tell us all about it, the driving force behind the innovation team at the port of Antwerp. Please join me in welcoming Piet Opstaele.
I heard you are doing already very well. It's a pleasure to be here, and in the coming 10 minutes I will share with you a very exciting subject. It's about drones. But first, I will give you a short introduction to the port of Antwerp, Bruges. We should not forget that, Virginie, it's port of Antwerp, Bruges. What happened end of April, we merged with the port of Bruges. And actually, in that way, we became the second largest port in Europe. And even the chemical cluster is the second largest in the world. We should not forget that. Because sometimes ports are kind of unknown territory for a lot of you. But a lot of things are happening there. And there are a lot of challenges. And if you look, for instance, to the size, Antwerp alone is 120 square kilometers, 12,000 hectares. So that's a very large area to see what's happening there. Many ships coming in, trucks, cargo, you have nuclear plants, you have windmills, high tension lines. So there's a lot of infrastructure and a lot of movement happening there. Also 160,000 people are working in the port. So that's also a challenge to see, to bring these people in a fluent way in and out into the port. As a port authority, it's really our mission to be a lever for a sustainable future. So helping companies, helping people, technology to use that and to bring it to a next level and really build a sustainable port is a kind of key mission for us. And for that, we have three priorities. It's sustainable growth, but also transition. Energy transition, very important because a lot of carbon emissions are still happening in the port. We have to bring that to zero within less than 30 years. So a lot of investments and projects are currently being done on that. But also being a resilient port. And that's also one of the reasons we are using drones. I will not explain our innovation strategy. We have 4 building blocks on that. But one of these pillars is to position the port as an open innovation platform. Why? Because as a port authority, we have many assets in the port. More than 2 billion euro assets, bridges, locks, and so on. We have a lot of digital infrastructure into that port. We have a fiber network, we have a LoRa network, we have a 5G network, and of course we have a massive amount of data. But also a lot of process knowledge, nautical knowledge. How do you manage that port operations? It's quite specific. And our vision and our strategy there is to open that to technology companies and say to everybody is welcome, do your thing, and we see what's happening. Of course, from an operational point of view, not so easy to implement that. So we choose 3 topics to work on. One is drones, the other one is smart shipping, and air quality. And actually, 3-4 years ago, we started working on drones. Because at that moment, we had a vision, drones will become more and more important as a fast emerging technology and will be important in the port business. And I think in the beginning of the year 2000, it was a kind of toy. Probably a lot of your kids bought, or maybe yourself, a drone at that moment. But we see that in the last year, it's getting more mature and robust, for sure. Also the hardware. I think in the software, still a lot of development can be done. And currently we have been implementing, we are the first port in the world, I'm really proud to say that, who is start using, and on operational level, automated drones. So from this month onwards, we will start operating that. By end of this year, we will have more than 500 flights per month in the port of Antwerp. That's not fully autonomous yet, but that's coming. And we have 2 main responsibilities there. First of all, we have a responsibility to manage the drone flights within that large area as a geozone manager. So we have to give authorization to the drone operators to do a flight. And besides that, we're also using drones as an operator ourselves. Here you see a view of the portal we use for that. That's together with Unifly, but gives us a very nice view what we can do and should do in case of an incident. If there is, there are a lot of chemical companies, Cerveza companies within the port. If an incident is happening, we have a view where the drone flights are currently happening, and at that moment we can say all drone flights has to stop, or new ones cannot go into the air. Also for the drone operators, a very nice tool to do their drone flights request in a semi-automated way. But even more important is that we, as a port authority, are deploying operational drone capacity ourselves. And sometimes it's underestimated, but the potential in the port business in general is huge. Myself, I'm now 8 years in the business, coming from TomTom, fast-moving consumer electronics, and you say, yeah, the product cycles are much slower in the port business, but what I see, and it's still emerging, the potential is huge. And one of the proofs of that is that for all emerging technologies, we have so many use cases. We have been working on digital twin. There you're working on more than 130 use cases about inspection, monitoring, and so on. For drones, we define more than 50 use cases which are possible within the port. Of course, we will not deploy all of them, but I will give you some examples. And here you see a visualization, how are we deploying our automated drone network within the port. So on 3 locations, we will have 2-3 drones, which can go into the air for 45 minutes. So we can reach, within less than 5 minutes, every location in the port. And we are doing together that with a nice consortium, and Proximus is also a leading part in that they're supporting us very much and building a specific 5G network on that, because a lot of 4G and also 5G is until a level of 40 meters, but drones are flying up to 90 meters. So they have to build special antennas where they can reach higher altitudes. Together with Drone Matrix, who is providing the drones, and SkyDrone, that's a consortium we are working with to really operate these drones. It's a 3-year project for the time being, and we hope that in the coming 3 years we can implement a lot of these potential use cases. So here you see a small visualization of the drone and the box, but I will skip that in time. So why are we doing that? For instance, detection of oil spills. In the port, Antwerp is a very important bunkering port. Bunkering is tanking of ships. We have about 100 smaller oil spills per year. And the smaller ones, we clean them up. The big ones offshore, but they have, of course, impact on our operations and on the environment. So the faster we can detect these oil spills, the faster we can clean them up, having less impact on the environment and having less impact on operations. So using drones is very useful. We built an AI computer vision together with the University of Antwerp on that to have that detection. Other use cases are about degassing. More line configuration. Is the ship at the right position with the right lines attached to the quay wall? Floating debris. Every year we get about 50 tons of debris out of the docks. So using drones to detect where are the hotspots is very useful. And also just having an eye in the sky is so useful. Here you see an example of a couple of months ago. There was a big fire on the opposite of the very nice port house in Antwerp. And there we put one of our drones into the air together with the heat camera. And we were transmitting these images real time over a 5G network to the fire brigades. These guys were so happy and so impressed by that today in Antwerp all fire brigades teams are equipped with drones because they say it's so useful to use that. Okay. So that's my story. Thank you very much, and see you later on. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Opstaele, not only for the presentation on the port of Antwerp, Bruges, but I think, ladies and gentlemen, you agree for making it safer, cleaner, healthier, more efficient and resilient. I hope you enjoyed the first example of what 5G can mean to us, to companies. Well, the next example is about connected ambulances, and it will be brought by Dr. Professor Marc Noppen. He is the CEO at UZ Brussel. So can you imagine a world where 5G and augmented reality are meeting each other so that, for example, the crew of an ambulance really can help a patient at the scene, making life-threatening circumstances safer for patients? That's what it's all about. Well, I think that Professor Noppen has much more to tell about this than we can. So let's welcome him, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. Welcome, Professor. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for having me, for giving a short pitch on a very exciting project we are doing at University Hospital Brussels, together with several partners, among which Proximus. We are talking about the new ambulance of the future, and I will try to give you an insight on what we are working on. You should know that a hospital nowadays is no longer a standalone hospital, but we are part of networks. And as a university hospital, we have daily transfers of very ill patients towards our center. It's about secondary transport. It's not the emergency care transport, it's secondary transports from very sick patients towards the hospital. And our ambition is to do this in the best possible way, state-of-the-art, and in a connected way. And I will give you some of the details on what we are working on. It's no coincidence that we are doing this at UZ Brussels, because we have a tradition of being somewhat pioneering in emergency patient transports. We started with the very first MUG-SMUR, which was called PUC at that time. It was in our hospital. We started with paramedics in the Piet transports also a couple of years ago. And a few years ago, together with Proximus, by the way, we had a project called PressUp, where we pioneered with video imaging out of an ambulance for patients with stroke, especially. And so now we are talking about really the ambulance and the connectivity of the future. So what should it look like? What should an ambulance like this look like? And who has to be in that ambulance? And how can we solve, let's say, the issue of having the best possible experts at bedside during the transport of the patients? So how does the ambulance of the future look like? Well, this is the hardware. This is the van, the ambulance. You should know that we have designed an ambulance which is multimodal, which is flexible, which can transport a 700-gram newborn baby who is intubated from one hospital to our neonatal intensive care, but also a 150-kilo patient with an acute stroke who needs thrombectomy, or a patient with COVID who is on intensive care on the ECMO machine. So you have to be able to transport all these patients in the same van, not at the same time, but sequentially. So you need a modular build-up of this ambulance, and up to 7 people can be together with the patient during the transport. Now, the second question, so I invite you at the launch of our new hospital, our new ambulance. We will be driving it Q1 2023 approximately. So you're all invited at the launch of this new vehicle. But maybe the most important question is how do you manage the best possible care during that transportation of these critically ill patients? The solution is remote. Telemedicine. It has various forms. We have seen it during Corona with teleconsultations and video consultations, but we can use the same principles during critical patient transport. And therefore you need communication and connectivity. And that's where Proximus comes into the game, where you can provide us with the means of establishing these solutions. So the idea is that we have, for every critical transport, the best possible specialist who is with the people in the van, although being at the hospital. So at a kind of dashboard room, where you can see not only the vitals of these patients, but also, thanks to the connectivity and the VR and AR glasses that we will use, and no longer cell phones, because this is not a solution of telemedicine like we used to do nowadays, but we use the next level remote solutions, and that is that the people in the ambulance will wear VR glasses and AR glasses through which the specialist in the hospital can see the patient, see the vitals, can zoom in, can instruct by voice control whatever has to be done with that patient. So this is part of the solution of the patient transportation and the ambulance of the future, is this real-time connectivity between the environment of the patient transport and the best possible specialist who will be remote at the hospital and no longer have to be on call to be involved in this patient transportation. So you need a lot of things to establish this. You need the communication real time, but also the communication with all the vital parameters of the patient. But we are ambitious, we are never done, so this is the proof of concept which works. and we will launch it, as I said, beginning of next year. But we are still working on new applications to be introduced into the goggles, let's say, of the people in the van, the protocols that have to be followed, etc. We will need 5G to do this, and we will have this in Flanders, in the environment, the Flemish environment of our hospital. Brussels is a little bit difficult, as you might know, so I urge you all to lobby a lot to get 5G in Brussels, because we will need it for this, to transfer to Brussels hospitals. And we will need training people, but that is not a problem. We will do that. We are very ambitious. Voice-controlled protocols, for instance, is something else than we were used to and trained to. So I will summarize. I think my 10 minutes are gone, so I invite you all to the launch of this Ambulance of the Future early 2023. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you, dear Professor Noppen. Wow, 5G is really saving lives. So thank you for that. I'm impressed. I'm also impressed because the third example is an example I know very well. I'm talking about the media, where 5G, I know that, is really making the broadcasting more efficient, easier, also giving the possibility to target even or to reach new audiences, like for example the teens, my children, who prefer TikTok over the classic TV setup, ladies and gentlemen. So to elaborate on that topic, we have invited Benoit Cordemans. He is head of business development of 11 Sports, and 11 Sports is a leading company in broadcasting sports events. So let's do some sports. Yes, let's get more active. Here he is for you, ladies and gentlemen. Benoit Cordemans.
Hello everyone, I'm really pleased to be here today to present you the first 5G sport live production use case made in Belgium that Proximus and 11 Sports made together this summer. So first of all, let me introduce shortly 11 Sports. So 11 Sports is a content production, streaming and distribution company, which has a clear mission to connect audiences to their passion, but also empower the partner to do the same. We have a clear ambition to become the best and the bigger sport platform in the world. I think it's a big and huge ambition, but this ambition is translated with the new announcement made between 11 Sport Network and the group DAZN for the merge between the two giants of the sport in Europe. So this ambition will be supported by different capabilities that we have in-house. So first of all, of course, a deep portfolio of live and non-live content, but also the multi-platform distribution strategy that we have through linear channel, but also OTT platform, from live channels to event-based content access. But also, thanks to the global reach that we have within the group, reaching the Europe, of course Belgium, Portugal, Italy, but also the Southeast Asia and even the United States. We are proud also to have developed our own platform streaming, our own streaming platform strategy and technology, which helps us to offer the best-in-class B2B services, where we also become the preferred partner of FIFA, offering the streaming services for the new FIFA Plus platform. But as a content company, let the content maybe speak for itself.
Oh, magnifique! Oh, qu'il est bon celui-là!
Goedemiddag en van harte welkom op 11 Pro League.
On est au cœur de l'événement, au milieu du terrain.
van zij.
And this is Modi off.
This guy, he works in Carrefour where I go.
No,
yeah,
never.
I swear.
Oh, il y a une bonne défense. C'est de l'union, ça. Voilà, ça va dedans. Écoutez-moi ça. Allez.
En voor de derde keer op een rij.
So, 11 Sport, this is a lot of moments, a lot of event to capture and content to capture. But to cut a long story short, in Belgium we have two kinds of products that we offer. On one hand, we have the 11 Pro League channels, which are the home of the Belgian football. We broadcast the Jupiler Pro League, the Challenger Pro League, and the Women's Soccer League. And on the other hand, the international sport, which gather all the most important leagues in the world: Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Ligue 1, NFL, NBA, and much more. But let's focus on the local market, because this is what interests us more. In the Belgian market, 11 has production and distribution exclusive right holders have a specific position in the market. We are the link between all the clubs and the league. But thanks to the partnership and long-term partnership we made with the different broadcaster and telco provider, such as Proximus, we have quite in a position where we control the full value chain of the content production and the football production, from the production itself to the distribution and the consumption of the content. And so, in this key position, we have the obligation to continuously evolve and use the best-in-class technology and continue to have innovative way of working. Regarding the partnership that we do and the distribution. We are the first to introduce the content and open the content world to the bank sector, which is a great achievement. We made some partnership with a best-in-class social media company like 433, but also with device providers like Samsung, or even entertaining places like Kinepolis. But what interests the people and audience maybe today more is what we are doing in live production, because of course the core of our business is the content itself. And so we need to every day improve the experience we offer to the fans and the content that we deliver on our platform. So we need to be at the heart of the fans, but at the heart of the pitch. And that requires a lot of agility and a lot of new technologies to be able to go further every time. So like you see here, agility in the production crew, for the production crew, with the deck of the commentators on site, on the pitch, but also with some kind of visualization of the statistic, so that the consumer can understand better and on an efficient way how the statistic can be used and what it represents. But on top of that, new technologies such as augmented reality have been used and are used on a daily basis on our channels for the lineups of the player, but even to go to the statistic of the games, the teams, but even the player self. And for all that elements, we have decided with Proximus to join ourselves and our capabilities to make the first live 5G live production and this summer. And for that, we use the Super Cup moment, which is the final between the winner of the championship and the winner of the cup that are playing against each other. And we decided to work on 3 different pillars during that use case. First of all, the agility. How can we, thanks to 5G, be more agile? How can we, and you will see in the use case, we inserted some 5G SIM card directly in the cameras to be able to put some cameras in the surrounding of the stadium, but also in the background and backstage of the stadium to offer some inédit images to the fans. That was the first pillar. The second one is how can we, beside the traditional way of distributing content via linear channel, offering at the same time and in parallel some content for the social media channels, and which request a different type of production, different cameras formats. We go from the horizontal one to the vertical one, of course, but also a new way of commenting and acting during the game. So that was the second pillar. So in terms of production, we added some cameras. We used the 5G connectivity to just push a new signal to another place at the same time of the traditional one. And the third pillar is, of course, it was more a technical test to see, okay, how can the capabilities of the 5Gs regarding the stability of the connection, the bandwidth, but also the low latency help us in the day-to-day production of live sport events. And maybe in the future, allow us to be more cost efficiency. Let's see in images what we have done with Proximus.
Davince Sport, c'est une société de création de contenu sport. Et le fan de foot, il consomme aujourd'hui du sport de façon très, très variée. Groupe jeune, groupe plus âgé, une partie linéaire, une partie digitale, réseaux sociaux. Et donc c'est à nous à apporter ce contenu chez tous ces groupes cibles qu'on a en tête. Depuis qu'Eleven a acquis les droits de la Jupiler League, on a essayé de créer un écosystème avec des partenaires existants comme Proximus, ThinkThings, mais aussi avec de nouveaux partenaires comme MediaPro qui au niveau international est quand même un grand player. Donc ces 4 sociétés, Proximus, ThinkThings, MediaPro et Eleven, on essaye vraiment d'innover dans la production télé, mais pas uniquement télé, mais aussi les autres plateformes plus digitales. Et j'en suis sûr que cette production-ci donnera des résultats qui seront vraiment importants pour l'avenir. Aujourd'hui, il y a plusieurs choses qu'on essaye d'intégrer dans cette production. Il y a en effet la partie linéaire, donc on envoie le feed linéaire par la 5G vers le playout, mais à côté de ça, on fait aussi une production spécifique sur TikTok et on emploie aussi la connectivité 5G pour envoyer le feed en streaming vers la plateforme TikTok.
Le test que l'on fait aujourd'hui s'inscrit vraiment dans une volonté de co-création avec le secteur des médias. Et donc, on va tester 2 nouvelles applications en s'appuyant sur le réseau 5G aujourd'hui. Premièrement, on va streamer le match en live sur TikTok au travers du réseau 5G Proximus. Et deuxièmement, on a équipé des caméras avec des cartes SIM 5G qui vont capter l'ambiance, l'atmosphère autour du stade et dans le stade de manière très mobile. Les avantages de la 5G, c'est de pouvoir s'appuyer sur un réseau qui est stable, qui est performant, qui offre de la bande passante, peu de latence, de la stabilité pour pouvoir envoyer ces images en haute définition de manière à ce que tout soit clair pour les spectateurs.
As you see, thanks to that use case and for the future, we are convinced that the 5G network will help us to reach the ambition of the Eleven Group as a key enabler, technology enabler. And so let's see how we will offer the new future experience for the fans thanks to the collaboration with the new technology partners. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, dear Benoit, for bringing sports to the fans, and I hope we will have a lot of great football moments by the end of the year also,
For sure.
Thanks to our technology and 5G. So, Alex, we had 5G in health, in an economic environment like the port, and now in entertainment. This is really a game changer, eh? And then I remember that at the beginning of the presentation, you mentioned we have a connection every 15 seconds. Was that it? So you have been
That's
connecting.
for fiber. That's for fiber.
On fiber, yes. So you have been connecting a lot.
Yes.
You have been collecting a lot, but also connecting with partners.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are here today. But can you also maybe explain us how such a collaboration with IoT partners works at Proximus?
Yes, for sure. So we've seen a lot about networks. Of course, especially for IoT, we have a lot of networks. We have 5G, obviously. We have also NB-IoT, LTE-M, also the traditional cellular networks. And we use these networks to build our own IoT cloud platforms and then IoT solutions. So actually, last year, for instance, we did a lot in COVID times for connecting all the vaccination centers to really do temperature monitoring of the vaccines, to really do CO2 level control. We helped the retail sectors also, for instance, counting people, because we had to know how many people were entering the shops and for safety and health reasons. So all these type of projects, we do it, I would say, on our own. But an important part of our activity is really to be the, I would say, Intel Inside company. So we want also to offer these assets, networks and IoT platforms to other companies that are actually using them to build new innovative solutions, bringing sensors, networks, cloud platforms, and applications together. And you see it on the slide. I think it's quite complete, but actually we have more than 300 partners today using our networks and platforms to build their own solutions.
So it's also really about involving a partner. Indeed, a lot of names on screen. Could you maybe give some concrete example? Is that possible?
Yes. So I think the best way to do it is maybe to ask one of these partners to explain himself what they do with us. So I think it's a good idea to bring someone on stage. And so it's our pleasure to welcome Crodeon, one of our ASP partners on our IoT platform, to explain a bit what they do with it.
Yes, so they are the Belgian manufacturing of remote monitoring, is that it, for, I've been told, agriculture, infrastructure. So really pleased and eager to find out more about that. Let's invite them on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Secru van Crodeon.
Good afternoon. Hi everyone. I'm Jonathan, co-founder and CEO at Crodeon. We are an IoT hardware manufacturer based in Ghent. The topic of my keynote is making IoT accessible to companies of all sizes. I'm going to start with the founding story of Crodeon. Then I will mention a huge problem that we haven't addressed yet, but don't worry, we have a solution as well. I brought a bunch of customer cases, and then we have a spectacular announcement at the end. So the founding story. Crodeon was founded in 2015 in Zarren, Kortemark, West Flanders. My co-founder Sam is the son of a farmer, and he noticed firsthand how his father kept wasting time on and on again with simple stuff breaking down. Ventilation for the pigs, an irrigation system, a water tank running empty. And Sam thought, hey, we can fix these problems with simple modern-day technology, the Internet of Things. So he got to work, but he knew that if his father was going to have to use it, it had to be extremely easy. Easy to use and easy to understand. So fast forward 7 years, we now are a team of 6, and we have our offices in Ghent Science Park. We're specialized in remote monitoring and Internet of Things. We are a proud Proximus partner for over 5 years now. Delphine is our account manager, so he deserves to be on this slide. There's tremendous value in IoT. That's what many of the keynotes here are about. But there's a problem that we haven't talked about. There's a problem with IoT for small projects. We noticed that many small projects of just a few sensors or a few users are often cancelled before they come to life. Why is this? Let me explain why this is. These small projects are not profitable because of the cost of overhead and manual work. Overhead, that's when you're looking for a solution, it's disguised as meetings and reading manuals and quote requests. Manual work, on the other hand, is during the installation phase. It's a little bit of tinkering and tweaking and programming before you can go live. Overhead and manual work is why many of our competitors have a minimum threshold of 10 or 20,000 euros before they even consider starting a project. This minimum threshold puts a lot of potential customers in the cold. Our answer to this problem: keep it simple and standardized. If you think about it, all customers need the same thing. They all need sensors, connectivity, and cloud. What if we simplify these three components to the extreme? That's what we did. Reporter is a simple wireless sensor device. This is the device that Sam built for his father 7 years ago. Reporter comes with a standard set of sensors and a Crodeon cloud dashboard out of the box connected. Plug-and-play hardware with plug-and-play software. The sensors we buy from third-party manufacturers, of course. But everything that we offer is standardized and is compatible. It just works. So easy to use and easy to understand. Easy to buy means that we also have a web shop where all of these components are displayed, transparent pricing, and you can buy them with one click. Of course, the missing piece of the puzzle here is a massive amount of content, videos, and blog posts to explain to our non-technical audience how they can get started and get their IoT hardware up and running. I brought a bunch of customer cases, but we're going to have to go through them very quickly because I don't have much time, but I just want to illustrate the versatility of our technology. Every project that you see here is realized with the same Crodeon reporter. Jules de Stroper has 4 reporters in the plant of Ypres, where they measure temperature, humidity, power supply. Muurtuin builds vertical green walls. We help them with measuring the isolating effect, temperature, and air and water flow and weather conditions. Aquafin used reporters in the Octiput project, where they wanted to proactively empty a water tank before a flood was predicted. Heipluin, chicken farm in Holland. We help them with CO2 and temperature measurements to keep the chickens safe. Sanacon is a concrete specialist. They use humidity sensors to measure the health of a concrete structure. Antwerp Terminal Services, they have a windmill, and they wanted to monitor how intense the wind was and how much electricity this generates for them. Scholengroep Sint-Rambert in Torhout, they use CO2 sensors, of course, in the corona period, but now they also use the built-in temperature sensor to see if they're not ventilating too much, because too much ventilation has a huge impact on your heating costs. Stad Ruslare had a problem with a bad smell in Rumbeke, and they wanted to register where the temperature, where the wind direction and the wind intensity was. Brasserie Pakhuis, a restaurant in Ghent, temperature monitoring and power supply. Golf club in Latem, they use a tremendous amount of water, and they were obliged to register how much water they use and what an impact this has on the groundwater levels. And Bax, dewatering in Dutch, that's bronbemaling or putboring, droogzuiging. We help them with water flow measurements, vacuum sensors, and groundwater level. So more logos, but the main message is here. Every one of these customers use the same Crodeon reporter and a different set of sensors. And then, one more thing. We are very excited to use this event to announce the 3rd generation Crodeon reporter. This is the culmination of 7 years of listening to customers, what they want and why they want it. This is the world premiere. Yeah. I present to you the 3rd generation Crodeon reporter. Better, faster, stronger, and ready for mass production. 2 things you should remember about... Thank you. 2 things you should remember about the next generation reporter. Auto sensor detection and one size fits all. One size fits all, that means indoor and outdoor usability. Grid power and solar power. A triple modem on board for narrowband IoT, Cat-M, and a 2G fallback. And there's the GPS inside. One size fits all. But even more important is the auto sensor detection. We went back to the drawing board and thought about how we could take the simplicity of Reporter to a new level. The new Reporter will enable hot swappable sensors that will be automatically detected and visualized in the cloud. This is kind of a big deal. This enables every person in the world, age 4 to 99, to go live with their own custom sensor project in a matter of seconds. That's how we make IoT accessible to companies of all sizes. Easy to use, easy to understand. And of course, this report also is designed and assembled in Belgium. One final slide, requested by Proximus, how we see the future. We predict a rise in online B2B commerce. I know humans buy from humans, but nowadays that human you buy from is found online. IoT is always about partnerships. Another obvious one, the worlds of hardware and software are so radically different, you cannot do it well if you do it all. So Crodeon, we're also looking for software partnerships and distributors. Finally, we can make Europe great again. Even the assembly of electronic devices can be done here, but we have to be smart. Your product has to be optimized for easy assembly. And then it doesn't matter where you assemble it, here or in the Fast East. Finally, the importance of saving time. Manual labor, and especially technical skilled manual labor, has become so expensive and so hard to find. If you can save time for your customer, then you're onto something. That's it. Please follow me on LinkedIn if you want to stay posted about the progress of our company. And we have a booth here also, so don't hesitate to drop by if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that glimpse of the future and the next-gen reporter also. So very interesting customer cases. So, well, I think, Alex, after 5G and IoT, where it was all about partnering up and partnerships, maybe it's time to tackle cybersecurity?
Absolutely.
Yes, let's do that, ladies and gentlemen. So think possible when it comes to cybersecurity. Nowadays, we have to earn trust from consumers and customers. We have to protect brands also, to secure intellectual property with a lot of new threats and attacks each day, each hour, each minute/second. I think that cybersecurity is definitely top ranked at the CIO's mindset. Well, although I think that the Beltec survey confirmed that last month, and also the last Proximus survey, ladies and gentlemen, showed that 1 in 3 companies had to deal with a cyber incident last year. With the bigger or larger companies, it was even 50%, 1 in 2. It's enormous. So when it comes to cybersecurity, it's also, of course, about partnering up, working together. But how can you help other companies, organizations to protect themselves, Alex?
Yeah, that's a good question, Virginie. So what we try to develop is the 360 approach for cybersecurity, where we really help customers in the manage, detect, and response of all the events. And of course, you see it here since the start of the event, the number of things you have to protect with cybersecurity is just increasing. You have the things that you connect. You have the people that remotely work from any place, which is making a bit more of a challenge to protect. You have your own assets, you have cloud, you have your application, your data lake, so it just keeps on increasing. So the way we handle it at Proximus is we have a team of 350 people full-time working on cybersecurity and trying to make this happen for our customers. We also don't do it alone. You just mentioned, Virginie, the importance of partnerships for cybersecurity is also very important. And you have all of these partners also in the hall there. So you have, I will try not to forget anyone, so apologize, I will try. So you have Microsoft, we have Cisco, we have Fortinet, we have Palo Alto, we have Ivanti, we have F5, we have... who do we have still? Trend Micro, sorry, and who do I miss? I think Checkpoint. So now the list is really complete and no one is frustrated. But the important message is that with all these partners, and the vast number of technology that it just keeps increasing, what we try to do at Proximus is really look at the customer use case, select the right partner, select the right technology, and then bring the solution really as an end-to-end solution provider and integrator. A next wave coming for cybersecurity, and something on which we invest also a lot, is CCERT and our next generation SOC. So with these assets, we will help companies really revolutionize the way they have to treat some cyber attacks. So the idea is to use AI to really detect attacks much sooner and then reduce the impact to the maximum. So there we will go on investing a lot in making this a reality. Still, as was mentioned, there is a lot of shortage on cybersecurity skills. Everybody is seeking on the market to get the right people. So it is true indeed, 1 out of 2 big companies in Belgium today miss cybersecurity specialists. So it's really huge. So we are helping companies in protecting the business and making cybersecurity a real asset for them. We are doing real projects today. One of the projects we want to talk about is with one important customer. It's Argenta. And it is my pleasure to welcome Brigitte Buyle, CIO of Argenta, on stage now. So Brigitte, if you might still want to come in now. Yeah. So before giving the word to Brigitte, I want to personally thank her because, you know, cybersecurity is kind of a sensitive matter, and especially for banks. And she's one of the few CIOs accepting to really speak it out and explain the trajectory that was done at Argenta side. So Brigitte, thank you for your time, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex. And I said to Sophie, I want to be a silent reference. So what am I doing here? Anyway, Argenta is really focused on our clients. We are a very local bank. Proximity is important, and satisfaction of our clients. So when we look to what we are focused on, really on the front of the business, we partner in the back. So really our strength, all our efforts are on the clients in the front. And in the back we partner, whether that is for operations or for IT, it's the same. So I like the slogan of Think Possible. You need it when you have difficult projects, to have a partner that thinks it will be possible. So in our purpose, it's really about making it simple and taking care of our employees. And I think we found in Proximus the partner with the right mindset to tackle this very important subject of security. Now, before we move on the content, I like to do a small commercial.
Kun je eigenlijk fan zijn van een bank?
Argenta heeft een supergoeie app, maar ook nog een kantoor waar je kan langsgaan.
Voor mijn kredietkaart moet ik niks extra betalen. Toch nice?
Bij Argenta leggen ze mij alles rustig uit, tot ik het begrijp.
En daarom
zijn wij fan.
So we have a very nice NPS. Our clients are fans. And it's very new that we do some commercials. So you can download the app and become client online. It's a very nice app. And maybe you know Argenta, it's a family-owned business, which is very specific. We have this long-term view. For 67 years, it's been growing without doing any acquisitions. So it's a quite nice story with 1.7 million clients, mainly in Belgium, and a bit in the Netherlands as well for mortgages. It's a full-fledged bank insurance, investments, loans, mortgages, insurance, daily banking. A very nice story. But this is not why we are here today. So why are we here? Well, banking as a CIO, it's not an easy job. I need to say I'm very, very humble and lucky to have this job with a very good team, because this is the reality, I would say. When the app is not there, clients in today's world find us. And next to availability, it's also about security because we manage their financial assets. So it's very, very important to them. And security is one of those very ugly topics that is very complex and challenging and keeps me, but also our board, awake. So this is something that we decided for sure we will not do alone. It's a matter of skills, but also a matter of growing complexity that is really increasing every day. So this is the model that we have chosen to as a target operating model. You see Argenta on the green. We are really on everything that is more on the governance side. It's important as a regulated business that in the end we are responsible. So we wanted to simplify the landscape of anything that has to do with security. And you see Managed Security Service Provider, the MSSP, is doing all of that. So it's really the internet, the DMZ, everything that has to do with our keys, the SOC, it's detect and respond, and also kind of taking care of our supplier landscape for anything to do with network and security. That is a landscape, both private in our own data center with our data center outsourcing provider, and also more and more applications in the cloud. So it's a quite complex thing, and I think all of those elements separately are maybe not unique, but bringing it together with one partner is pretty, I think, still unique. And we had obviously more suppliers before that we now replaced by one. And it needed to be someone willing to sign up for the SLAs and doing all that at a fair price. So it's complex, it's challenging, that's why we've done this. It's just two pictures to show that it's been more complex and more challenging than we thought. So if you don't need to do this, don't do it, because it takes a lot of time, more effort. For two reasons, we underestimated the technical complexity. I think I can say this for Argenta, but also for Proximus. We were very enthusiastic when we started, but we have added quite some time and effort to get everything done. There is technical complexity, there is lack of documentation, but there is also de-risking that we consciously decided to do in order to make it work. But I think every project is in IT always complex and always unpredictable. Most importantly is to hang on and fix the issues. So we keep focused on our fans. We had in this project, we are more or less at the end, more or less. We're now optimizing the operations, work to do there. But we're very happy that we took this step, and it brings us forward in our security roadmap. We had this, I think all of you, a challenge of improving your security. We have a quite ambitious security roadmap. This was a very important step for us to reach a higher maturity on our security roadmap. So I think this one is maybe not applicable here, but this, I would like to say thank you to the Proximus team for hanging in and for bringing us to this next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigitte.
And thank you, dear Brigitte, for sharing with us the why, the how, the what. Well, honestly, Alex, as a consumer, I was not aware. Yes, I am aware, but I sometimes forget what's really going on behind my banking application. So I will get my calm next time, promised. If I'm not mistaken, we still have another example, another customer case about cybersecurity. It will be brought by DPG together with the Proximus affiliate, Davince, who is building at DPG, also a SOC. So I've met the team of Davince earlier in the month of September, but can you maybe explain again what Davince is all about, and especially what the service intelligence is all about?
For sure. So Davince is our subsidiary specializing in security and cybersecurity in Belgium. what they built is actually a real-time view of the IT infrastructure for our customers. So they do this with actually two important building blocks. You have the whole security intelligence. It's reactive and proactive, where you actually really monitor the security, a bit what we saw just in the example before. And then on top of, they built also another layer, which is service intelligence. And it's quite nice because you use kind of the same assets to help customer in really getting to an important KPI, which is 100% uptime in the digital availability. So it's security going together with digital service excellence. And that's what it's all about. It's really the ambition, and especially of the use case that we will see, is really to help our customers not only secure, but also become really at the standard of digital service excellence.
Yes, so before that the damage is
yes.
done. Actually, well, yes, that is all about. Without waiting any longer, let's call them on stage, ladies and gentlemen from DPD and Davince. Please join me in welcoming Thomas, Colyn and Philippe Meerbergen.
Hello everybody and good afternoon. DPG Media is a media company active in Belgium, the Netherlands and Denmark. We represent more than 80 unique brands, and in order to support this all, we make use of a decentralized IT landscape in order to support our activities on radio, television, newspaper, news sites and online services. Of course, this all also can be directly translated in a huge and large attack surface.
So at Davince Labs, we produce data-driven insights, and we do this at two fronts. On the one hand, we have our security intelligence solutions that aim to solidify the trust in your digital services, applications, and data. We do so by proactively identifying and prioritizing the vulnerabilities so we can reduce your attack surface. But that's not enough. We need to be able to react as well. So we aim to identify threats to your environment in real time, to stop cyber attacks in their tracks, to contain security breaches, and minimize the impact for the business to the absolute minimum. On the other side, we have our service intelligence solutions that really aim to drive the user experience. We monitor your entire IT stack for health and availability to ensure uptime and optimal performance of your digital services at all times and offer the best possible experience to your users. That's the way we believe that we contribute to a more secure and seamless digital world for all of us.
Today, we are facing text for shell, but it all originates or is originating in December 21 with Log4j. Log4j, direct exploitable and from the outside remote code execution. In human wording, a big cybersecurity threat, and it makes us aware that for such a critical vulnerability, a direct action was needed. We needed, on a very short basis, go on a vulnerability hunt. A vulnerability hunt in a very decentralized IT landscape. We, as a company, we have more than 270 AWS accounts. We have 89 squads working on it in a very agile, decentralized environment, and we didn't have one central overview on it. We didn't have any form of automation. So in order to mitigate the vulnerability, We had literally on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, put more than 100 IT people together in order to start a vulnerability hunt. And that's the moment that we realized, okay, this has to stop. We have to do something about it. We need some kind of automation. We need some kind of orchestration. And that's why we start searching for a solution, and we try to find, we think we found it with Davince Labs.
So first, we needed to create central visibility. So bridging all of those different data silos dispersed throughout DPG group and bringing all of that security relevant information together in one place, a single source of truth, let's say. Together with DPG, we accelerated to the cloud, deployed our big data analytics platform on AWS, built for scale, fully automated, and managed as a service by Davince Labs. Today, we're already processing close to 1 terabyte per day of log files for DPG, and we estimate to have a daily data volume of 3.5 terabytes each day by the end of the year. That's a huge amount of data. You can compare it to 800,000 to 1 million high-resolution photos streaming in every day, or about 800 high-definition movies. But then, in the equivalent of security log files, which are basically small text files, so that gives you an idea of the huge amount of security events that are generated in such a complex distributed environment. So now that we have all that data, we can search across it, it comes down to bringing meaningful security insights to the business. We do this by building interactive dashboards at different levels, going from a high-level security posture dashboard, aggregating risk scores, giving the possibilities to drill down into the lowest levels of details, to pivot your data according to a security domain, according to a business unit or product line with DPG, so that we can give every business user the right scope of his responsibilities and the right view in his security ownership. And that's how we hope to bring that sense of ownership when it comes down to security through the business itself. Okay, but then we have visibility. It doesn't stop there. Then we start building up a central detection capacity to be able to detect threats in real time. We do this by funneling down those billions of security events into just a couple of meaningful security alerts with high fidelity to drive investigation and response workflows. We do that by correlating all that information to see across security controls which are the threats that really matter to DPG. We further complement that with threat intelligence, known indicators of compromise coming from different sources, different feeds, shared throughout the security community to also detect for that and correlate that in our use cases. We further challenge our automated detection capabilities with manual threat hunting, with the assumption that we missed something in the past, pivoting historical data to find suspicious patterns, suspicious activity within the organization. After having centralized detection and quality use cases, quality high-fidelity alerts that we can work with, we need to go towards the mode of continuous operations. We will further aggregate and group alerts in a meaningful way in cases and enrich those with contextual information to set the Cyber Command Center on the right path with all the information at their fingertips to drive their further investigations and response workflows. We try to orchestrate those workflows as much as possible and even automate containment actions wherever possible using SOAR capabilities and playbooks. And in the end, we want to reach the maturity that we end up in a continuous loop of detection and response, having very short feedback cycles to continuously improve our detection use cases on the one hand, and our response playbooks on the other hand. And that's how we believe that we are building a cyber command center fit for purpose and fit for the future together with DPG. So that leads me to thank you, Thomas, for choosing Davince Labs and going on this journey together.
No, Philippe, actually it's DPG Media who also has to thank Davince Labs for providing a nice solution to one of our big concerns. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fit for purpose, fit for the future, ladies and gentlemen. So Alex, after we had 5G, IoT, cybersecurity, I hope there is still some energy in the room.
Yes?
Yes? Well, you will have some coffee later on during the break, but before the break, we would also like to talk about cloud.
Yes.
A very important topic. We really would like to share before leaving you to have a look at our partners and grab some energy. Cloud, we are living in a first cloud world, making it companies easier to become more agile, to work more efficiently, because Alex, I've been told that it is time-saving, money-saving, because their own IT workers, well, they do not have to build IT infrastructure, they do not have to take care of updates, for example, and on the other hand, the all IT departments are really, they are saving time and they can focus on the higher value tasks. So I hope I have been briefed very well on that topic, but I was wondering, because I see so many cloud possibilities and services, so where do we start?
Yeah, so first of all, you've been briefed well. You can nearly join our cloud team, Virginie, if you wish. Now, if we complement a bit what just has been said, actually, of course, there are different cloud instances that you can use as a customer. So you can decide to still have some of your data or application running on-site, or put them into a private data center operated, for instance, by Proximus, or then fully move to the public cloud. Now, what we see is that actually the real situation for many customers is not that simple. Sometimes you have old applications that you cannot migrate to cloud, or you have some very legitimate data protection issues that makes that actually it's preventing also to move everything to public cloud. That's why we see that in reality, many companies live in a hybrid cloud environment. It makes it quite complex because for each asset you have, for each technology, you have different sort of experts. You need to run on different sort of platforms. That's why we decided actually to create something like a single pane of glass, so like a unified console that allows the customers to really manage and move around the different cloud instances, their virtual machines or workloads. This is what we call cloud fusion. So it's really with the intention to bring actually the multiple cloud under one unique console, one unique experience, allowing really to transition smoother. And for doing that, we have an important partnership ongoing with HCL. So the invitation to you is to say, look, if you are in the middle of this cloud transition, or if you have questions, or if you want to test things, you should come to the booth, the cloud booth, to see that, because we have also created an innovation lab together with HCL. So the intention of this innovation lab is not to show, ready-made solutions, but to really research with customers on real challenges, how we can help and make this cloud transition a reality. And then in terms of cloud, there's also a second very important evolution. It's sovereign cloud. So you all know about GDPR and the Schrems 2 and all what is going on. So actually, of course, you could say, but I can still use a level 1 cloud, so a very basic cloud data center, and then it's safe or it's semi-safe. Actually, what we all want is to be able to use all the fancy stuff we get from the Microsoft cloud, for instance, but still having data protection, encryption, and data localization inside the countries, not seeing these data flying around in multiple data centers. Well, this is going to become a reality. Proximus is working hard together with Microsoft to launch this in spring. So we will have actually new instances that will allow us to really benefit from all the advantages of a public cloud, a Microsoft cloud, but combining with the key data location and encryption done only at the Proximus side. So that actually you combine best of both worlds. We will be the first actor in Belgium in doing that, and we are very motivated about this new use case, but also very proud of what we can bring to the market to really make sovereign cloud a reality.
Wow, impressive. I think that you also have some examples to share with us, some cases you would like to show really the importance of what you just explained.
Yes, so actually we think it would be good to ask, and we asked Ben Roeland to go as a flying reporter and interview one of our cloud specialists, Thierry Van Nuffelen. So I suggest we now watch a little video from Ben and Thierry.
Achter mij op het eerste zicht een onmogelijk gebouw. Een gewoon gebouw hier in Evere en toch kijken we momenteel naar the brain center, the epicenter of the cloud-based solutions van Proximus. Hier passeren dagelijks megabytes, wat zeg ik, terabytes aan data. Het hoeft dus ook niet te verwonderen dat de IT'ers die hier werken zo nu en dan met hun hoofd in de wolken zitten. We gaan eens luisteren hoe ze dat doen. Vrij windy in de cloud, moet ik zeggen.
Ja.
Dus wat zien we hier nu rondom ons?
Dit is eigenlijk dus hoe dat de cloud er achter de schermen uitziet. Dus een verzameling van computerelementen, opslagelementen, netwerkelementen die aan klanten worden ter beschikking gesteld om eigenlijk hun applicaties en hun workloads op te laten draaien. Op deze rak kunnen zelfs 50 verschillende bedrijven op hun workloads laten draaien.
Die kunnen niet aan elkanders cloud, neem ik aan.
Nee. Dat is de bedoeling.
Dat is wel redelijk belangrijk.
Dit is onze laatste versie van de Proximus Cloud die we aan onze klanten aanbieden. Dit is eigenlijk wel state of the art.
Zullen we stillere oorden opzoeken?
Ik denk dat dat een goed idee is.
Voilà, we weg. Dus, we hebben het gehad over die cloud. En daar bieden jullie eigenlijk a multitude of solutions. Hoe zit dat precies?
Klopt. De cloud as such is een verzamelterm waar dat je eigenlijk, dat is de plek waar dat je applicaties laat leven. Nu, de brandname die dat we gebruiken voor onze cloud oplossingen in zijn geheel is eigenlijk Cloud Fusion. Ja. Vanwaar de fusion in de naam? Omdat we de verschillende potentiële cloud targets die er zijn met elkaar verbinden en voor de klant een uniforme beleefwereld geven. En we proberen daar ook telkens verder in te gaan met onze klanten, verder dan het pure infrastructuurvraagstuk, maar ook mee te denken naar applicatietransformatie. Natuurlijk heeft Proximus daar een streepje voor met onze telco-achtergrond. We proberen ook uitdagingen zoals sovereignty rond data op te lossen voor onze klanten. Data is eigenlijk de kern van een bedrijf. Verlies je je data of bedrijfsspionage, je wil het gewoon niet meemaken.
ja.
Wij garanderen dat die data van onze klanten enkel voor onze klanten is.
En zo met cybersecurity werken en ga zo maar door. Eigenlijk heb je wel een bijzonder spannende job, hè?
Absoluut, maar gelukkig sta ik er wel niet alleen voor. Daar wil ik Chris iets meer laten over vertellen.
War on talent is inderdaad een grote moeilijkheid doordat iedereen momenteel in dezelfde vijver zit te vissen. Wij als Proximus bieden hier voor onze klanten een oplossing aan door onze consultants met de juiste skills op de juiste taken te zetten in het Cloud Center of Excellence. Daarnaast is er ook een partnership met HCL, de welke nu al zijn vruchten afwerpt.
The real state of the art, especially within the huge talent gap there is. So I was wondering, because Alex, real state of the art, and as a customer, it's good to see the behind the scenes. You should share it with everyone. But when we say and cloud and Proximus, I remember when you were giving us the Belgium scene, we also say ClearMedia, isn't it? So what about that, ClearMedia?
Yes, so ClearMedia, it's another part of the market. It's more the SME market. ClearMedia has been a pioneer in cloud in Belgium, actually. It's a company that started 20 years ago and that has become part of the Proximus group. Basically what they do is offer mostly cloud assets to SMEs. They don't go directly to customer, actually. They offer these platforms to partners, IT partners or telco partners that then can bundle and use part of these assets to create value offerings to our customers. So basically, what type of cloud is offered by our ClearMedia friends is actually all the backup solution, web hosting for allowing companies to host their application or web, but also they help via partners, companies in workplace, Office, Microsoft Office assets, and so on and so forth. And to make it very tangible, again, we have set Ben on duty to meet one of our important partners for ClearMedia, which is Becosoft. So let's watch the video of Ben interviewing Christophe de Koning.
Achter mij, op het eerste zicht, een onopvallend gebouw, ergens in een KMO-terrein in Pimsen. Maar wat als ik u zou zeggen dat achter de gevels van dit gebouw software wordt gemaakt voor POS, Points of Sales, oftewel kassasystemen van werkelijk wereldklasse. Maak kennis met Becosoft. Christophe, wat doen jullie precies bij Becosoft?
Wij leveren hard- en softwareoplossingen voor retail- en wholesalebedrijven. Dus wij ondersteunen winkelketens en groothandelaren in de IT-producten. Dat gaat over kassasystemen, facturatieoplossingen, voorraadbeheer. Zowel al de software, maar ook al de hardware en de diensten die ze nodig hebben om de systemen up en running te houden.
Jullie bieden een POS aan, wat is dat precies?
Point of Sale System is eigenlijk een kassa-oplossing. Dat gaat hem enerzijds over het afrekenen wanneer een consument iets wil aankopen, maar dat gaat ook over het volledige winkelbeheer. Dus het aanmaken van producten, het beheren van de voorraad in de winkel, het rapporteren van de verkopen. Dus eigenlijk het volledige beheer, alles wat nodig is in een winkel om het volledige beheer te doen. Oorspronkelijk zijn we natuurlijk in België gestart, maar vandaag hebben we inderdaad in ongeveer een kleine 20 landen klanten.
Die groei heeft ook betekend dat jullie hulp nodig hadden. Leg eens uit.
Al onze oplossingen zijn in de cloud gehost. En daarop doen we vandaag beroep op ClearMedia. Het was voor ons heel belangrijk om een hele sterke en stabiele partner daarin te hebben, die vooral ook ons bedrijf goed kent en ook met ons mee kan groeien. En daar hebben we met ClearMedia echt de perfecte partner in gevonden. Dus zij zijn een van de weinigen die ons een full service konden geven. Dat betekent, ja, enerzijds hebben we natuurlijk hostinginfrastructuur nodig, die zij uiteraard hebben. Maar wat de absolute meerwaarde voor ons was, is het feit dat zij ook het volledig operationele beheer doen van onze serveromgeving. Dat betekent dat we op dat vlak eigenlijk 100% ontzorgd worden.
Zeg, waarom heb je dan precies gekozen voor ClearMedia?
We hebben heel bewust voor ClearMedia gekozen om een aantal redenen. ClearMedia is onderdeel van de Proximus groep. Zij kunnen dus eigenlijk een totaalpakket leveren. We gebruiken dus qua hardware-infrastructuur de infrastructuur van Proximus, maar we gebruiken de volledige servicelaag daarboven van ClearMedia. ClearMedia is nog altijd echt een KMO qua mentaliteit, wat voor ons heel fijn maakt om daarmee samen te werken, vooral het directe contact.
Ja.
En dat zorgt er dus echt voor dat we heel nauw kunnen samenwerken, maar dat ze ons ook heel goed kunnen ondersteunen in onze groei. Elke week zijn er mensen van ClearMedia aanwezig hier om projecten op te volgen, serveronderhoud in te plannen, af te stemmen welke richting we uit moeten en dergelijke.
Dus dat biedt jou een enorme meerwaarde, denk ik?
Absoluut, ja, dat is eigenlijk een verlengde van ons team. Ja. En zo zien we dat ook echt. Het is geen klant-leverancier, maar het is echt een partner voor ons.
Thank you very much, Ben Roeland. We see each other later here on stage. But before that, we have one customer case we would like to share, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting one by Dulco Ventilation and Sun Control. I've been told that they're working with a Proximus affiliate, Coded. Can you just briefly explain what Coded is about? What is it doing for its customers?
Yes, so Codit is also one of our subsidiaries. It works with the intention to turn data into insights. So actually you can have a lot of data being available from sensor, any type of devices. The idea is to uniformize, to make this data more uniform and then to create APIs so that these APIs can actually be used either by internal users, partners, customers. And also what Codit is doing as well is what we call recoding of applications to really make these applications future-proof and really allow these applications to really get all the power and information out of the cloud. So therefore, making this very down-to-earth and tangible, we thought it was indeed a good idea to ask Duco to come on stage to explain how Codit helped them in building a digital twin using IoT and AI to actually cool or heat buildings, residential or professional buildings, in a very efficient way. So it is my pleasure to welcome Koen Maartens, the R&D director of Duco, on stage. Koen, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm from Duco, so most of the people who know Duco probably know Duco because of our ventilation units. Duco is selling and producing every year more or less 50,000 of those units, trying to bring fresh air, healthy air in your homes. But actually, Duco is doing much more besides ventilation units, we are also selling and producing louvers, sun shading elements, all types of components that affect the way how air and sun is coming into your homes. Even more, people are not aware of it, but all those components are often interconnected. So they all have a wired or a wireless device. And with this device, all those elements, the sun shading, the user control, the grills, can connect with the master units, and they create in your homes a sensor network, measuring temperature, humidity, and CO2 levels. So this is a very interesting, I would say, connected world at your home without you knowing probably. So with all those elements together, we can do smart things. Actually, what we are doing today is to control fresh air coming into those homes to make sure you have a healthy indoor air quality. But with the same sensors, we can also measure temperature. And with this temperature, we can control the sun shading elements, so make sure that you don't have overheating during summer times. Even more, during the night, we can open up windows, louvers, so make sure that fresh air comes into the homes. And during the day, we close everything, of course, to make sure that the cold, nice environment stays at every room in your home. But actually, we have a bigger challenge. If you want to create an active house, I would say the main stakeholder is the inhabitant. It's you. You're living in this house. You have some wishes about comfort, but also you're opening windows, opening doors. You're doing all things that you should do because you like to live in your home. But actually, this is quite a headache for Duco. So we have to try to keep control of quality without interfering too much with your habits. And how are we doing that? We actually trying to solve this, of course, with the kind of user app. We connect your home with the cloud and communicate with the inhabitant with the user app. But also, we try to make a model of your habits to make sure that we can anticipate on your behavior. So if you take a shower every day, if you come in, you come out, we try to take this into account to make sure that we create this healthy environment with as less energy as possible. And to do this, we create the so-called digital twins. We make a digital twin of the home, the inhabitants, but also about the environment, because the environment is also very important, because the environment affects the how wind and sun is coming into your home. So what are we doing? So in practice, if a home is built, at the same moment we are building a digital twin. So for every home, we have I would say, a virtual home, collecting all the data and trying to keep track of the behavior of you and your home during the period of time. For example, you wouldn't expect it, but things are changing quite a bit during the 30 years that you live in this type of homes. First thing, of course, you enter a home, and so we have, for example, 3 the same homes, but if every home, every behavior is very much depending on the inhabitants. So we have to keep track of the way how the inhabitants are behaving in those homes, making it by adopting actually our digital twin. Another one is the environment. Homes are placed, but you have an environment of trees, you have other big buildings and cities, and if you have those big buildings coming into the neighborhood of your home will be exposed in a different way to the environment. So this is the third digital twin, the environment that we want to keep track of. And we try to do this during the period of time that you are living in those homes. And at the end of the story, we always have a digital twin of the home, the inhabitants, and the environment. And by this, we can always create this as a basis for new controls, new business, and of course, to make sure that everything goes well in this indoor climate. But, of course, it's also interesting how we do this, actually. So, together with Codit, we have developed a kind of IoT platform to make sure that we can create those digital twins during a long period of time. So if you look at the slides, we have our ventilation units. So every home of those 50,000 houses has an individual smart ventilation unit that collects all the data. So on this unit, we place a so-called IoT communication board. And this communication board will communicate with the cloud. So together with Codit, we have developed an Azure cloud solution that makes sure that the data is collected every moment of time and that is transferred to our cloud. Opposite as well, if something happens, we can send something from the cloud to your home to correct or to inform the inhabitants if something goes wrong. And then, of course, the nice thing is that in this cloud, we have two very important elements. One is, I would say, the digital twin descriptor, and therefore we use the real estate core environment. So it's a kind of ontology, how to describe a house, the topology, the installation, the sensor data. And this real estate core, which is also a standard product, helps us very much to facilitate this into the Azure cloud. Besides this, we have another very important element of the cloud. This is our analytics environment, and therefore we use Databricks. So Databricks is our, I would say, our engine in which we train our models, in which we capture the data, and we transfer the data, and I would say usable information that we can use to control and to monitor our smart homes. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Koen. I think he made it really, really clear. And you know what I also think? It's very interesting that you have invited a lot of people to share their real experience and feedback with us, because feedback is really important, Alex. And even I would even say that feedback is a gift.
Absolutely.
And you know why I'm saying this?
Yes.
You have an idea already?
Yes, we have a little idea. So
because we have Ben Roelands here.
We have been quite sitting a long time here, and we would like also to get actually your feedback. And indeed, Ben did quite a good job with the little interview. So we thought he could work a bit more with us. Maybe join us on stage right now.
Quite the big stage over here, I have to say.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good to see you in real life.
Nice. I would like to tell you, you're doing an excellent job today.
Thank
How
you.
about a round of applause for these two people, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. So, I was mentioning to you, Virginie, we would like to get audience feedback and some ideas. So, we thought Ben would be the perfect person to interview you in real time. So, Ben, what are you going to do right now or in the coming minutes?
Mainly, we have our camera crew set up in the hall right aside of us, and I am here to ask 3 preliminary questions to all of you. 3 questions. Maybe I could start with you, Alex, right now.
I thought you would interview the customers.
Yeah, we want,
but that's very fun. Okay.
Why don't we give it a go? First question is quite simple, ladies and gentlemen. First question is, how do you think your company will react to the ICT challenges of the future, and what would these ICT challenges be exactly?
That's a good question. So I would say the biggest challenge, I think, it's the technology just keeping up, coming. So the level of complexity is really not really decreasing, but rather increasing. So for us, from our perspective, I think, and for me, the main challenge is really to be able to use the correct technology for the need you have, and to have actually the right balance between not jumping for technology for the sake of technology, but really trying to balance the complexity with the real benefit for your organization.
Exactly. Alex, you thought this through. This is excellent, of course. On the other hand, second question for you right now. There are no wrong answers, don't worry.
That's
right?
okay, I feel the stress.
Second question is quite simply, how do you feel your ICT provider should help you in the future to make your product even better? How should we collaborate with each other?
I think everything is possible, or nearly everything is possible from a technology perspective. So from our perspective, I would say we have to listen carefully to what is really the need and what is really the problem we need to solve, and not push technology, because really starting from the use case, from the customer need, and then come with the appropriate solutions.
Of course, you need to work on that together, dialogue, dialoguer, comme on dit. And then thirdly, the third question I would like to ask you, of course, we have right here the ICT leader, which is Proximus still today. What would you say are the assets that this ICT provider, the ICT leader, as I said, will offer you? What are the assets you think it has?
Of course, we have networks, technologies, platforms, but our main asset is people, I think. It's IT is people business. We need really, and we want to stand there for our customers, helping them in the transitioning and in transformation. And I hope, at least with all the examples we bring, that you see that we take this very seriously. So I would just choose one word and say people.
Exactly. Thank you so much for these answers. Of course, I would like to ask these answers to the public. So that's what we'll be doing in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us right there in the hall. We got a bright spotlight and a camera, and we'll come and find you to have some answers to these questions. I would like to thank you right now already to make sure that you come and see us.
Well, thank you, Ben.
Yes,
and see you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow. Well, Ben is back at work. I'm going out for a break, ladies and gentlemen. And so you two, please go ahead, do some networking, grab something to drink, to eat, to take some energy, and, of course, to visit the partner booths. Because how are you going to help those people? You mentioned that you have two ways to help.
Absolutely. So don't fly away right now. So for the most shy of you, we invite you also to flash the QR code we will now put on the screen. Actually, we have selected 4 ICT themes and on which we have little questions. So if we might ask you a little bit of your time to actually answer these questions, it is very important for us because we take it at heart. We want to get your feedback and also integrate it in our reasoning. So you have all time that you need during the break or after the break.
Yes.
You can choose to go to Ben to flash the QR code, or even better to do both, because it's going to be physical and digital. And we wish you, I think, a very pleasant break, and we see you back in 45 minutes.
45 minutes sharp, ladies and gentlemen. So within 45 minutes, take the time to greet and meet each other, to have a look at the partners, the QR code, or to go ahead and to look for Ben. Enjoy. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had the opportunity to take some energy, to have a look at the different booths at the marketplace. It's nice having you here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure that more of you will come back because we have a very interesting second part today where we will tackle sustainability, but also in these very disruptive times, remote work. So what about the communication and collaboration over there? We'll have Stefaan Vandist, who's sharing a very innovative and inspiring keynote, a roundtable debate. But as mentioned first, I would like to re-invite Alex on stage to talk about sustainability and communication. Welcome back, Alex. Yeah, you made it too interesting. You have a lot of interesting partners at the marketplace, but that's also what the ThinkThings is all about.
Absolutely.
About sharing knowledge, expertise, insights. So now we'll tackle sustainability first, and I know that you have a lot to talk about and to share about sustainability.
Absolutely. So, and I hope you can hear as well, because we can hear quite a lot of noise from the marketplace, which is very, very good sign and very lively. But let's go on. So this slide we have been talking about in the first part, and now we really zoom on what we do for green at Proximus. So our ambition is really to act for a green and digital society. And that means that we have really ingrained this in our way of working. We have very down to earth 2 objectives that we want to reach. One objective by 2030 and the other one by 2050. So the first one is by 2030, we want to become really, truly a circular company. And by 2050, we want actually to achieve net zero emissions. And actually, we are the first Bell 20 company with this objective being really scientifically validated. How are we going to make this objective a reality? Is by reducing 90% of all our emissions. And for the 10% of the emissions that we cannot avoid, because not everything can be wiped away, we will then neutralize it. And we want to reach also 100% in recycling rates. So, if I may have the next slide. Yes, what did we do last year? It started with smartphone collections. So we collected in 2021 80,000 used smartphones. The ambition this year is to collect 50% more, so 120,000 smartphones. Why do we do that? Because in Belgium there are 3 million smartphones and old used phones that stay in our drawers. For each of these devices, we can recycle actually 90% of the material. So it's really huge, and that's why we want to get a push there. So actually, we are running the campaign. You have to know that if at your company you think it's possible to collect more than 50 used phones so that we can send them to recycling, we even organize the collection for you. We really do it, I would say, for good and for good of the planet. There is no, financial objective linked to it. It's really to help the sector recycling. What we produce, we have to recycle. And we have one gentleman here. It's called Peter Laquet. I see you here, Peter. So if you want to organize this type of collection for your company, just reach out to Peter and we will organize it for you. We also did it for other parts of our networks. So besides recycling, we also refurbished 850,000 devices and equipment. Our ambition is to do more and more of this because it's also part of our responsibility and societal responsibility. Also, we have dismantled quite a significant amount of sites. As you may know, we do network sharing for our mobile network. We created a GV for that. So it means that we already dismantled 30% of redundant mobile antenna and sites, and it's quite huge. If you see the number of tons of materials that were recovered and then recycled, it's 2,500 tons. The other part of the things we try to do is actually engaging with partners, and you see them here, ESSERS, bpost, DPD, DTDI, to actually create a more sustainable supply chain and also a more inclusive supply chain. So that's also an important pillar in our strategy. And then we have also some actions that we do to help you as customers to make this happen. I think first we will see a little video of what we do in Courcelles and how we actually implement the circular principles in our own logistics center in Courcelles. So there again, we have sent Ben Roelands to do a little interview and a little reportage on what we are doing in Courcelles.
Bonjour, j'ai une petite question à vous poser. Est-ce que vous avez un tiroir chez vous, une boîte même, où il y a des anciens modems ou mobiles dedans? Oh, bien sûr, nous en avons tous une boîte comme ça. Saviez-vous que cette boîte, elle a une valeur incroyable? Parce qu'ici, au centre logistique de Proximus, on donne une nouvelle vie aux appareils que vous n'utilisez plus. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai un rendez-vous avec Emmanuel. Allez, c'est parti. Emmanuel, voilà l'entrepôt immense du centre logistique de Proximus. Qu'est-ce que vous faites comme activité ici?
Moi je suis en fait responsable de l'ensemble des activités logistiques de Courcelles. Ici on a en fait plus ou moins 22 500 m² de surface et c'est le plus grand centre logistique de Proximus. On prépare plus ou moins 1 million de colis par an pour l'ensemble des activités Proximus, que ce soit le réseau, les techniciens ou la vente. Depuis maintenant plus de 5 ans, nous avons mis en place, ensemble avec notre partenaire CTDI, une activité de remise à neuf de tout ce qui est TV Box, Internet Box Wi-Fi Booster. Le conseil d'administration a demandé d'assurer une empreinte sociétale importante et donc on a continué à travailler et on a même augmenté le nombre de personnes issues de l'économie sociale ici sur place. On a plus ou moins entre 100 et 120 travailleurs par an.
Ça te dit, on va descendre alors, parce qu'apparemment tu as le vertige.
Je t'en prie.
Allez. Si un modem rentre dans le bâtiment, quels sont les stades qui suivent?
L'appareil va revenir avec tous ses composants. On va séparer les différents composants d'un appareil. On va après tester chaque appareil pour voir s'il fonctionne toujours bien. On va faire le nécessaire, si les tests software sont OK, de remettre à neuf en fait cet appareil. Cette activité permet de réduire drastiquement les émissions de CO2 puisque ce sont des boîtes qu'on ne doit pas produire et pas faire venir. Proximus est la première société belge à avoir obtenu le Lean and Green 3 étoiles qui certifie que nous avons réduit nos émissions de CO2 depuis 2015 de plus de 50%.
Emmanuel, on récupère les métaux, les plastiques, mais dans les mobiles, il y a pas mal d'or.
En fait, on utilise le programme Don't Miss the Call pour récupérer les GSM que les gens laissent traîner souvent dans leur tiroir. Et l'année dernière, juste pour l'anecdote, on a récupéré 2,7 kg d'or grâce à ces activités.
Waouh, c'est incroyable. Donc méfiez-vous, dans les tiroirs, chez vous à la maison, il y a de l'or. N'oubliez pas, hein, c'est important.
That's what we do, and as you heard in the little video, we are already halfway, so we already cut 50% of our emissions, CO2, we still have 50% to cut. Now, we do it for ourselves, but we also do it to help you in transitioning. So you can hear sometimes in the press, you know, digital is a polluting industry and so on and so forth. Actually, what we do is also we look at the impact that digital tools can have in your operations and in helping reducing CO2 for your own business. And what we have calculated is that actually with what is already put in place with all our B2B customer, we reduced the CO2 emission with 500 kilotons. So if you say, what is 500 kilotons of CO2? Is the equivalent of the yearly emission of a city of 70,000 inhabitants. So it's like a city like Ostende, for instance. You can say, okay, we reduced. It's like this city would not produce any CO2 anymore. That's what we are already implemented with digital tools to help you reducing your CO2.
That's huge, eh? So maybe tonight, later on, we can all grab the smartphones we still have at home or the other devices. So really circular by 2030 and then a net zero target by 2040. Yes, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You have been busy the past couple of years, but let's be honest, in this challenging world, how is it about communicating and collaborating with, yes, other parties, with employees? Maybe before inviting our external speakers on stage, you can quickly elaborate on how you've seen changing the company and the way we collaborate and communicate.
Yes, with pleasure. So in terms of workplace or new normal, I would say that we clearly evolve towards hybrid environment. This is also what we see at your site, at our customer's site. There is no way back to the former way of working. So, of course, the new norm is like 2 days in the office, maybe 3 days in the office, the rest remotely. The characteristic that is also added by this new situation is that it's always in a hybrid environment for which you have part of the workers on-site, other parts digital. So the hybrid aspect is really become a critical asset in it. And for that, of course, excellent network security, access to cloud, and all the stuff that we have discussed become really critical for employees. Now, we are there not only again to provide the communication and the platforms, we are also there to help customers transitioning with professional services and managed services to reinvent the workplace. And you have to know, for instance, today you are all here physically present. Actually, we live stream this event with 5G technology for all our employees that can look at it, look at all the presentation remotely, just as an example. Now, the same I would say, the employee experience. The same is also happening for customer experience. I started with that in the beginning of the first session. We have more and more physical and digital environments being brought together also for our customers. And there we have developed very special tools with the use of multiple technologies, including also RPA, including bots, including really different technologies that allow you actually to bring a multi-channel and omni-channel experience to your customers. So I suggest, to really look at it from a use case and customer case perspective. So I leave you in the good hands of Virginie, and we'll go off stage now to let the place and the stage for our customers. Thank you very much.
Which means we would like a big round of applause for Alex today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For sharing all those insights, key messages, elaborating on how Proximus is tackling all the challenges in these difficult times. Yes, we thought that showcases are really the best way, because seeing is believing and sharing experiences is the same. And the first showcase is coming from a magical place, ladies and gentlemen, a company that is really eager on offering experiences, but to all their customers. And they are from different generations. So let's find out how Proximus is helping Plopsaland, ladies and gentlemen. And join me in welcoming Sophie Buyle. She is the CFO of Plopsa Group.
Hi all. Thank you for the invitation. I will give a short preview how we work together with Proximus in the project of our hotel. So we are a proud part of the Studio 100 group. We do 1/10 of the group, but we are approximately half of the size of the group with our theme parks. Our business model, it started 20 years ago with an outdoor theme park, Plopsaland in the Panne. And during the time, we invested and grew, and we opened indoor parks. In 2015, we started with Water Park, the first one in the Panne. And the fourth dot is the overnight stays, so our hotel. We worked around 10 years for the permits, and some 4 years ago, we started the building project. Today, Plopsa is already big, as I said, but we also intend to grow in the future. We will add 2 water parks, of which one has been in the media not that far from here. One is still a small secret. And we tend to open 2 other hotels, one in Co and one in Holiday Park. And 3 weeks ago, we started another building project in Gdańsk in Poland. So the hotel, it all starts at Plopsa with a drawing. That is how we concepted it years ago. This is how it looks today. So we have a 4-star superior hotel. We want to offer very high standard quality to our customers. And together with the team of Geert and Björn, we looked into the possibilities in the cooperation with Proximus. This is our entrance hall, our foyer, which is our main eye-catcher in the building. And some pictures of how the rooms look like. So we have Maya the Bee, a highly thematized rooms. And then we have a standard room because we also work on B2B possibilities.
Hey, hallo allemaal.
Dag iedereen.
Welkom hier in het prachtige Plopsa Hotel.
Oh ja, welkom in het prachtige Plopsa model.
Nee, Samson, welkom in het prachtige Plopsa Hotel. Want vanaf nu start jullie verblijf hier in Plopsaland te Panne. En wij zullen jullie alvast een beetje wegwijs maken. Maar als je nog vragen hebt, dan kan je altijd terecht bij de medewerkers hier aan de receptie.
Marie?
Ja?
Mag ik zo even op die bel bellen zo?
Natuurlijk, Samson, want hier doet de bel het wel.
Mossige, maar dat duurt hier zo heel lang voordat er iemand komt zo.
Weet je wat? Ik zal eens bellen. Haha.
Hallo, Maar meneer Van Velen, zo, wat doe jij hier zo?
De burgemeester had mij gevraagd een beetje te helpen. Als jullie vragen hebben over jullie verblijf hier, kan je die hier stellen aan het onthaal. Bijvoorbeeld een vraag. Ja, zijn er hier ijsjes te koop? Mag je hier lang uitslapen? Of mag je hier peuteren in de neus? En het antwoord is... Voilà. Peuter er maar op los. Het is lekker vandaag.
So for the building of the hotel, we chose for a high acoustic comfort, because if you go to the hotel with your kids after a day in the theme park, you don't want to hear other children crying in other rooms, or you don't want to hear the outside noise, like from the events that we organize, the park music, the outdoor swimming pool of the tram passing by. So that had an enormous impact on the connectivity possibilities, because we also want to theme the rooms very highly to give the customer a unique customer experience. So these were the things that we had to deal with in the construction of a high connectivity in the hotel. So together with the team of Proximus, we checked what was possible. We foresaw every hotel room of a separate access point, as well as in lobby in the different areas. And we also have a big seminar area with 3 big rooms. So together with that, we also had to look for a very stable connectivity, and we also foresaw a backup line that is separate from our park. The eye catcher of the hotel is the IP television, which is included in all the rooms, because we want to welcome our guests with a personalized message, like when it's a birthday or so. We also have to take that into account. And we have a sports bar, where also the screens are integrated, and our own Plopsa TV for the kids, of course, and possibilities for B2B integrations. So this is the Proximus bar in our hotel. And next to a talking dog, we also have talking elevators in our hotel.
Vullen jullie aan? Hé, waar is de chocolade? Goed hoor.
Next to that, we also integrate our possibilities in B2B events. So for example, football cups. So if you want, together with your company, hire our entrants to come to watch TV, then you also can contact us. We have an excellent internet streaming in the hotel. Modern meeting rooms with a lot of facilities, all advised by the team. And as an evaluation of the project, we are very satisfied with the stability of everything that was constructed with Proximus, and a high service speed in case of the limited downtimes. So we managed to have a unique customer experience, and I also added the Facebook, the booking review that we had. So we had 8.7 last season, which is of course very well. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much, dear Sophie, for sharing with us this magical place. I will wrap up in the words the mayor of Samsonegert is always using. En alle aanwezigen, proficiat. En alle afwezigen, ook proficiat. De woorden van de burgemeester. Well, ladies and gentlemen, back to business. Our next partner coming up is Cisco. And as the ways of working have been changing a lot the past couple of months/years, they promised me to give us a glimpse of how the future will look like, or how the meetings we will conduct will look like. So be ready to have a more inclusive future. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Michel Assink from Cisco.
Thank you. We are living in challenging times. The way that we work is completely changed after the pandemic.
And even the way that we work today is changed by the energy crisis, as we see more and more people walking back into the office with a lot of extra stress to what we have over there. What we as Cisco are trying to solve is, can we use technology to facilitate how people work, how they interact, and how they can become more productive? We believe we can, and it's stated in our corporate mission, where we like to build an inclusive future for all. What does it mean for WebEx as our collaboration platform? It means that we try to make a WebEx meeting 10 times better as an in-person meeting. We respect sustainability, sovereignty, privacy, and local regulations doing so. And on top of that, we like to embed WebEx into business applications and workflows. Of course, those need to be applied to known user elements, like the home office, where we have to deal with noise, where we have to deal with messy backgrounds, and where we have to balance private work and business work, yet remain productive. We also have challenges at the office, where we are reintroducing hot desking in order to optimize the square meters that we have and have an amount of people over there. We need to think about how can we leverage ideation spaces, not only for people internal, but also working from home or external to the company. And then we have to embrace the good old conference room, as we believe that 98% of all meetings moving forward will have at least one remote participant. In order to optimize this experience, we are embracing artificial intelligence. Okay? We service in what matters most, we are engaging with everyone as they would be in the same room, and we give the insights back to the people, to the organization, or to the rest of the world if needed. Let us dive into some of the elements of the artificial intelligence that we are using. Take, for example, audio as one of the pillars. We're doing our utmost to deliver the best noise reduction in the industry. We are collecting all data from Cisco, like pets in-house, children, the fire truck, the leaf blower, or the coffee machine at the office, and we filter that, and then we apply those filters towards the devices that we sell to you, or the applications that we offer to you, so that the noise reduction is being treated locally, and it doesn't have to go to the public cloud. That is often not enough, because a lot of the conversations are voice-driven. So we need to think about our voices in that scenario. And we take it even a further step to only focus on my voice, sending that towards the remote participants. So thinking about the hot desk scenario, where I have a lot of noisy colleagues buzzing around my desk, I'm using my noise-canceling headset, and I'm using my voice only to have a professional dialogue with my counterpart. Another pillar of artificial intelligence is video intelligence, where I can use gesture-based control. So I can clap, I can do a thumbs up, thumbs down. You can do the same here, just saying, okay, advanced, for example, but the camera technology is picking that up and sending that feedback towards the remote participants. A really unique way in order to drive engagement in that type of conversations. Of course, that same camera technology is then used to augment the background, so filter what's behind you. But that same camera technology can also be used in order to immersive share my presence into a presentation as an example. I think the most advanced feature that we have in this case is what we call people focus. It allows us to count the number of people in a certain meeting room. Why is this relevant? Because we can send that data back to facilities, really checking the utilization of the meeting rooms. Or we can enforce social distance if that might occur into the near future. Saying, okay, there are too many people in the meeting room, please go to an overflow room as an example. And then that same feature can be used to further optimize the collaboration experience. Think like I'm working at home and I'm connecting with some of my coworkers at the office. I see a large conference room with 10 faces, but they look so small to me at my home office, why I have such a large screen. So what I can do with that camera technology based on artificial intelligence, I can capture the images and the faces of the people in that meeting room, and I can display them on the same level. So I have a better type of engagement because I can see what they are thinking, or at least I think they can see what I'm thinking, and I can interact in a better way. Another example, as last one, will be conversational AI, where I can really speak towards devices or speak to the platform, like asking, okay, WebEx, record my meeting. Okay, WebEx, start a session. Or for example, okay, WebEx, start transcription services, where I have textual transcriptions coming along as notes at the end of the meeting, or using live translation services to translate to 25 plus languages, from Dutch to English, from Dutch to French, from French to Chinese, and so on and so forth. So all AI-driven capabilities that we embed into our platform and our devices. So how is this relevant? Well, we are here at ThinkThings, and things can break. Okay? What do we do if things break? We send an expert on site. He or she tries to fix it, but potentially doesn't have the knowledge to do it. So they can call in a remote expert. And we use partners like Realware in order to make that happen. And all of a sudden, that noise cancelling becomes relevant. That focus on my voice only becomes relevant to remove the background noise. But also translation services of transcription services are becoming relevant because I can span across the globe in order to find the right expert and give, I would say, the right language towards the expert on site, as an example. It doesn't stop for us there. I think important for us is that we continue to develop and to innovate. And one of the areas where we believe the next wave will come is not per se metaverse, although we're trying to find our place in that area, but we believe that it's about the sharing of 3D content. Okay? And with that, I would like to introduce the WebEx hologram. I think.
There's no replacement for in-person interaction, but we can feel like we're together, interacting with the same objects while being thousands of miles apart. Introducing WebEx Hologram, the industry's first real-time holographic collaboration solution. This is a holographic meeting. It's a shared, intuitive interaction, allowing remote participants to experience the same immersive event. It's a transformative technology for designers, engineers, technicians, innovators, and more. This isn't some faraway vision for the future. It's available to a limited set of customers right now. The expectation of hybrid work has been elevated.
So really rethinking the way that we operate in that hybrid era. Okay? So companies like McLaren Racing are using that in their competitive advantage, really having spare parts developed faster than ever before. So in the last 8 minutes, I tried to provide some principles on how we engineer in the collaborative world, embracing AI. So also to reinforce the fact that we're here to make collaboration better. So my name is Michel Assink, and I thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Michel. And maybe next edition we can have a holographic ThinkThings. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? That would be exciting and great. Well, you all know by now that we've sent Ben Roelands all over the country. The next stop was Namur, where he visited Vitadel. Vitadel really gives telemonitoring oplossingen services for people who are losing their independency. So they created a one-touch communication tool. And with that one touch, those people can really call the Vitadel center, which is in the cloud, that Proximus is now building with Genesis. So Ben, let's watch.
Il est sûr que chaque application a un but, c'est de nous servir. Mais si je vous disais que la connectivité peut changer ou même sauver une vie, chez Vitadel, on s'en occupe chaque jour. Laurent, enchanté.
Bonjour.
Je viens vous visiter. Laurent, est-ce que tu pourrais m'expliquer ce que vous faites chez Vitadel?
Chez Vitadel, on a deux métiers. Il y a la télévigilance, premier métier, et un centre d'appel. Le centre d'appel, c'est pour tout ce qui est les infirmières, les gardes d'enfants malades. Et pour la télévigilance, c'est les petits boutons que l'on presse quand on a un souci, si on a une chute, si on a n'importe quoi comme problème. On presse ce petit bouton et l'appel arrive chez nous.
Est-ce que tu pourrais m'expliquer, les gens qui viennent vers vous, ils ont besoin de quel type de soins exactement?
C'est des personnes qui sont seules bien souvent, des personnes âgées. La moyenne d'âge chez nous est environ 85 ans. Il y a des personnes plus jeunes qui ne savent plus bouger, par exemple, qui sont alitées. Et donc, s'il y a le moindre problème, ils poussent sur le médaillon et là, ça arrive chez nous. Et nous, on prévient les dents proches, la famille, les voisins, pour qu'ils voient ce qui se passe et aller chez la personne au cas où. Ou même, ça peut être soit les pompiers parfois, qu'on ne répond pas.
Vous avez dû déménager toute la technique que vous aviez en analogue, en numérique, dans le cloud même. Comment est-ce que Proximus vous a aidé à faire ça?
Oui, donc on a tout déménagé dans le cloud parce qu'on a beaucoup d'applications différentes. Et donc, on a voulu regrouper toutes ces alarmes dans une seule application. Donc, on a plusieurs fournisseurs, on utilisait des capteurs, on utilisait aussi des piliers connectés. Et donc, ça, c'est les plateformes chaque fois. Et donc, ça nous envoie des alertes par email. Et ces emails sont transformés en appels. Et donc, Genesis a permis d'intégrer toutes ces alertes dans le monde Hypercloud.
Ces dernières années, vous avez eu des défis, bien sûr, parce qu'il y avait des changements dans la société quand même.
Oui, on a eu des défis, mais il y a eu surtout le Covid. Et grâce justement à Proximus Hypercloud et Genesis, ça facilite le travail, mais aussi le travail. En fait, on a des personnes qui travaillent la nuit, une personne qui travaille la nuit, et elle passe 11 heures dans le bâtiment toute seule ici. Et grâce justement à la plateforme, maintenant elle peut se connecter de chez elle, et c'est vraiment mieux parce qu'il n'a plus de trajet. C'est beaucoup plus serein pour la personne, oui.
Donc une automatisation qui est très efficace.
Oui, c'est très efficace, et chaque fois, alors, on a un script qui arrive, et donc la centraliste sait vraiment ce qu'elle doit faire et suivre ce script. Et après, on fait d'ailleurs des pop-up codes pour terminer l'appel, et donc comme ça, on peut avoir des rapports sur tous ces événements.
Donc ça permet aux gens de vivre en autonomie totale plus longtemps en fait.
Tout à fait, ça permet aussi de sortir de l'hôpital beaucoup plus vite. Ils peuvent sortir après 2 jours de l'hôpital, mais ils sont toujours surveillés. Donc ça, c'est très bien et c'est beaucoup de coûts en moins en fait.
Génial.
Thank you very much, Ben. Well, it's a great initiative, eh? People staying longer at their beloved homes. Well, now from Namur to Limburg, where Ben visited Covida. Covida is taking care of 1,200 people and with special needs, especially children, but they are in 48 locations. And thanks to Proximus, Covida is able to manage the communication between all those different locations. So let's watch.
In 2019 ontstond Covida uit 2 andere dag- en leefcentra hier in Limburg. En daarmee werden ze een van de grootste dag- en leefcentra van de provincie. Met maar liefst 48 verschillende instellingen en 900 tot 1000 mensen met een beperking die dagelijks hulpbehoevend waren. Ja, hoe doe je zoiets op een vlotte manier? Daar kwam Proximus met een oplossing.
Covida is een organisatie die in 2019 ontstaan is uit 2 deelorganisaties, Dienstencentrum Ter Engelen en Tivona. Wij ondersteunen ongeveer 1200 mensen verspreid over Limburg, zowel kinderen, jongeren als volwassenen. En wij doen aan hun een aanbod van woonondersteuning, dagondersteuning en individuele begeleiding. We zijn een heel complexe organisatie, gezien de grootte ervan, maar ook het aantal initiatieven die er zijn. En dan is het ook belangrijk dat wij goede ondersteuning bieden vanuit onze centrale diensten, ook op vlak van ICT, omdat zich dat ook vertaalt in de kwaliteit van de zorg. Ik denk bijvoorbeeld aan de oproepsystemen die wij nodig hebben, zodat onze personeelsleden hun werk goed kunnen doen en ze dus ook een goede dienstverlening kunnen bieden aan onze cliënten.
Leander, zo'n fusie brengt altijd een aantal uitdagingen met zich mee. Wat waren de uitdagingen hier dan?
De uitdagingen hier waren dat wij verdubbelden in het aantal sites en dat op al die sites eigenlijk met verschillende communicatiesystemen en zorgoproepsystemen gewerkt werd. Om dat klaar te krijgen zijn we eigenlijk bij Proximus te horen gegaan van hoe kunnen we dit oplossen, is er een oplossing voor? En zij zijn dan samen met DTW, met Geert van DTW eigenlijk, met een oplossing gekomen. De Mytel V-Connect is daar als telefooncentrale uitgekomen en Geert heeft daar een alarmserver tussen geplaatst die eigenlijk ervoor zorgt dat de verschillende zorgoproepsystemen dezelfde taal spreken.
Jullie maken gebruik van DECT-toestellen. Wat zijn dat eigenlijk?
Het grote voordeel van dit toestel dat is als ik op locatie moet, dat ik mijn toestel meeneem. Ik ga verplaatsen van Mazeik naar Tongeren. Ik ben in Tongeren op hetzelfde interne nummer bereikbaar voor mijn collega's als hier in Mazeik. De bestaande DECT-antennes hebben we allemaal kunnen bewaren. Het systeem wat er was, hebben wij nog kunnen gebruiken tijdens de swap van de nieuwe centrale. Die hebben parallel naast elkaar gelopen. En dat heeft ons ook de mogelijkheid gegeven dat onze systemen nergens zijn uitgevallen.
Ja. Oké, jullie zijn dus in zee gegaan met Proximus. Waarom kozen jullie die partner?
Wij zijn eigenlijk al partner met Proximus sinds 2000. En Proximus heeft eigenlijk door de jaren heen altijd samen met ons meegedacht.
Dus eigenlijk zou je kunnen zeggen dat met deze oplossing jullie zorg nog kwalitatiever is geworden.
Ja, onze zorg is kwalitatiever geworden. Het aanbod van de zorg, de rechtstreekse zorg, is daarin versneld. Eigenlijk wordt de gast direct geholpen met zijn vraag. Mensen met beperkingen hebben niet altijd evenveel geduld.
Dag Lukske, alles in orde, jong?
Yes, indeed. Instant communication is of course very important if you want to deliver good healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go forward to the future. How will we be communicating in the future? It will be Johan Toos from Microsoft who will shed light on the metaverse. So dear Johan, the stage, or how do you call that, in virtual reality is yours.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. This next 10 minutes I will take you through a journey into the metaverse. My name is Johan. I work for Microsoft as an industry lead for critical infrastructure across Western Europe. And let me start by guiding you by some numbers. First of all, Gartner predicts that by 2026, 25% of the people will do something with the metaverse in their personal life. Like, for example, shopping or work or let's say everything. Secondly, by 2026, 30% of the organizations will do something with their products into the metaverse. Now, what is this metaverse all about? It is actually, metaverse enables us to embed computing into the real world and embed the real world into computing. It's actually bringing the real presence to any digital space. And actually we did three versions, three experiences. There is a personal experience, there is an enterprise experience, and there is what we call the industrial experience. Industrial is all about digital twin, IoT, bringing that physical world to that all digital world. Secondly, this enterprise experience, name it actually virtual onboarding, virtual collaboration, working with people together in a virtual world, all this in the enterprise experience. And then there is a series of consumer experiences, things that we will see in the future, like virtual shopping, virtual tourism, virtual gaming, all of that embedded. Let me guide you through some of the examples. After this call, after this meeting, I have to go to another meeting in Brussels, in the center. So my personal experience will be that actually my avatar, my digital me, who know me by AI, by autonomous AI and all these components, should actually understand that I have to go there, that I have to be there at like 6, for example, and show me what is the ideal way to travel at the best cost, most efficient, and actually being there in time. Not just taking and suggesting me I have to take the train, but really tell me like, okay, we know that you work near the airport, you have a parking spot there, but the total cost of ownership, even if it's a more expensive ticket, will actually cover the full scope of that. So actually a full digital replica of me guiding me through all that. And when I arrive at that station, I will actually have this experience like this lady has. She comes to the station, connects with her phone, opens an augmented reality functionality in the application, and that application should connect her seamlessly and give that customer experience, that passenger experience that she requires to fully onboard and have that actually full onboarding process done so that nothing specific she has to do and she'll be guided. The guy who goes out of the station, well, he needs that experience to make a connection to a bus, to a train, to a shared bike or whatever. He wants to see all the options with augmented reality included. He will see these options, can connect to it, and get actually indoor and outdoor wayfinding to connect to the next platform, and then have a seamless experience to fully onboard, get a ticket, connect to all that. This is an example of personal experiences, consumer experiences, how we see that. I explained to you as well this enterprise experience. For sure, there's a lot. Think about digital onboarding. Think about also how do you help your employees or people get safety training, security training, help them to onboard. Have the first day, the CEO personally at your employees to welcome them, even he has different offices or wherever he is. So all these experiences will become enterprise experiences. There's a lot to come in this space, in this area. The third experience is this enterprise experience. Also there, it's about bringing that physical world and that digital world together. An example of this could be a digital twin of a city, for example. It can be, of course, of an industrial one as well, whatever it is, a digital replica of the physical entity. In this example, you see a full replica of a city in the Netherlands. You can see and play with the shadows during night, day, when it's cloudy. You can see that it is at a certain moment you will have it's night. What are the shadows? So if you want, for example, to add new buildings or new areas to living, what is the impact of it? How you visualize it? How you see it? You can connect, or they connect today already with buildings, with trees to show the maintenance and all of that. There is a layover with, for example, heat, with heat stress and so on, to guide, for example, elderly people to cooler spaces during the heat nights in the summer. Or you can, for example, as well get all the connections, all the information just at hand. And finally, you can see also underneath the soil. You can see the piping of the sewers. You will see the piping of the electricity, the telecom lines, all of it, all the facilities, and guide them and see them into the streets. I heard this news this weekend on the news that there are about 40 accidents per day in this area. So what if we could help that with digital replicas? And then even more. This is the replica and the data representation of a physical world to the digital. But what if you can get a layover with intelligence, where you can predict things like hydro models, where you can see the velocity and the speed of the water in case of severe weather conditions. Build that, got just a full resolution of a grid so that you see exactly what will happen and predict what could be, and just make sure that you plant the right or make just implementation of buildings, trees and everything. Show how much time there is for an evacuation, and just be that in a full virtual world. This was some examples on how the metaverse can empower you. And with this, I want to thank you for listening, and then I would say enjoy the rest of ThinkThings. Have a good day.
Thank you, and see you in the metaverse. Ladies and gentlemen, now, before inviting Stefaan Vandist on stage, let's go to Dendermonde. Are there any people here from Dendermonde? Yes? Well, because they have a very famous parade, the Horse Bayard, every 10 years. Every 10 years with 90,000 spectators, 2,000 actors. So you can imagine that keeping an eye on the crowd and monitoring it for public safety is a huge task. So let's zap to Ben.
Prachtige historische panden achter mij. De mensen van Dendermonde die weten al waar ik sta op dit moment. De markt van Dendermonde. En om de 10 jaar is deze plek het decor voor een van de meest geweldige internationale events. De ommegang van het Horse Bayard. Die ommegang die brengt 90.000 mensen op de been. En hoe zorg je dan dat dat op een geciviliseerde manier verloopt? Wel, daarvoor deden de politiediensten beroep op Proximus.
Patrick, ja, die ommegang dat brengt heel veel mensen op de been. Wat waren de uitdagingen voor jullie?
Ja, vooral omdat het 10 à 12 jaar geleden was, hadden we totaal geen idee hoeveel volk er eigenlijk ging komen. De overlevering sprak altijd over een 100.000 man. Ja. Dat is nog nooit gemeten geweest. Dus voor ons was het vooral belangrijk, zeker na die corona, om te weten van hoeveel volk kunnen we aan in de stad. En wat zijn eigenlijk de lessen die we kunnen trekken naar een volgende organisatie, van een volgende omgang.
Schitterend. En hoe heeft Proximus jullie dan geholpen?
Nou, ze hebben eigenlijk gemeten aan de hand van de gsm-signalen hoeveel volk er extra is toegekomen de dag van de Rosbeaartomgang en hoeveel volk er eigenlijk nog op komst was. Dus wij konden eigenlijk, mocht de binnenstad te vol geweest zijn, hadden we kunnen ingrijpen, hadden we het volk dat nog kwam van de buitenparkings, die hadden we nog kunnen tegenhouden.
Dit schilderij geeft je al een idee van hoeveel volk er over de vloer zou komen, maar goed, de uitdaging deze keer was nog net ietsje anders.
Ja, absoluut. Belangrijk voor ons was om te weten van hoeveel volk is er op een normale zondagmiddag in de stad. En dan met de real-time crowd management tool van Proximus hebben we dan eigenlijk verschillende scenario's gemaakt en gekeken van hoeveel volk is er op een dinsdag, op een woensdag, op een donderdag, om te zien hoeveel extra volk er is bijgekomen.
Real-time crowd management.
Ja.
En die real-time is echt heel belangrijk.
Heel belangrijk. We hebben eigenlijk continu kunnen monitoren hoeveel volk erbij komt op bepaalde momenten.
Ja.
We hebben ook kunnen zien welk stuk van de stad er meer volk had dan een ander stuk, zodat wij ook onze inzet konden bepalen.
Wil dat dan zeggen dat jullie eigenlijk alles weten? Dat ik mannelijk ben, 41 en al eens graag een frietje steek of zo?
Nee, dat weten wij niet. Voor ons was het vooral het belangrijkste om te weten hoeveel volk is er in real time in Dendermonde op welk moment op welke plaats.
Ja.
Nu, er was ook een mogelijkheid, maar dat is dan meer marketinggewijs, om een extra module te huren of te bestellen. En dat geeft u dan in clusters bepaalde gegevens, maar alles is GDPR-gewijs, geanonimiseerd. We hebben een stress gehad, maar alle middelen die we hebben gebruikt, en deze tool was er één van, hebben er toch voor gezorgd dat we op een rustige manier de dag hebben kunnen doorkomen. Dat alles heel veilig is verlopen voor de bijna 100.000 bezoekers.
Wow, impressive, ladies and gentlemen, and this thanks to the Proximus collaboration. Well, we are finally there. Let's invite our keynote speaker for today, and I've met him several times. Believe me, he really has an eye for the future. He even is pretending that the future is here. We just need to know how to look and where to look, although that's what he's pretending also in his book, Pretopia. So ladies and gentlemen, let's no longer wait and let's really gain some speed and get up to date when it comes to the future with Stefaan Vandist.
Hi, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Stefaan Vandist and I help my organizations with foresight. I help them to envision the future and You're not hearing what I sing? Okay, let's just do that again. Yeah, right? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stefaan Vandist and I help organizations since 12 years with foresight. I help them find their way and find a grip on the future in these uncertain times we live in. That's what I do, and at Proximus they asked me to share what it's all about, share how we're going to need ICT to create the sustainable future we all desire. And to be honest, a lot of unsustainability today is the result of bad design or worn-out infrastructures that need to be replaced urgently. I have the reputation to take people on a fast roller coaster when I'm on stage. That's not going to be different today. When we talk about the future, we talk about dreaming about the future, but today, in the times we live in, people express their feelings when it comes to the future, most of the times in terms of challenges that are intertwined into new challenges and that might lead, only God knows, to only challenges we are not yet aware of. Yeah? That's a bit the sentiment as we know today. In a very brutal word, we can call that a clusterfuck, but there is also a decent word, which is the polycrisis. This is the world of complexity we are in, a world of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And the bad thing about this is that people start to disconnect. People start to put their brains on mute. And that is very sad, because to tackle the big challenges of the 21st century we face, we're going to need every superpower of humanity. We're not only going to need the best of science and technology, we're going to need integrity, empathy, we're going to need care, we're going to need long-term thinking, we're going to need collaboration, the ability to do storytelling. If you zoom out and if you think of it from a distance, you can address it that way. People these days, humanity, lost their connection with the world, nature, each other, and themselves. And we, in the business of reconnecting people, communities, and business, we can put the best of ourselves to find and contribute to a solution on that. When we talk about foresight, there are many techniques in order to execute foresight. The most easy one is horizon scanning. And horizon scanning means that we're going to observe with a lot of attention the pioneers and the frontrunners of these days, look at the weird and crazy things they are doing, and maybe in a split second we're going to have a glimpse of our own future. That's what horizon scanning is all about, so make sure you wear your pink-colored glasses, because you're going to have to look at certain initiatives in a very positive and appreciative way. Just to experience that for a little while, I only have 20 minutes, 4 are already gone, I have to take you to a future. I have to take you to the future of an industry that doesn't enjoy a lot of attention on conferences on innovation. Yeah? It is the industry of agriculture. And that's maybe sad, because we all have a connection and an emotional relation with our food, and agriculture is ripe for digital transformation and sustainable innovation. I'll take you to the industry of agriculture, and I'm not going to take you to Silicon Valley to observe the future of agriculture. I'm going to take you to a village only 1 hour driving from Mechelen, Olmskerk, where boys and girls of pixel farming robotics divide countryside into different square meters. These are their pixels, and make use of robots to organize them, to produce a mix of vegetables, control them without pesticides, and harvest them in order to distribute them among people who are subscribed locally, to provide them with their weekly portion of fresh legume. I'm going to take you to villages with names like Ochten and Holten in Gelderland, in the east of the Netherlands, in a countryside with black and white spotted cows. Yeah? Where 80 organizations, a coalition of the willing of 80 organizations, declare themselves as the vegan valley of the world. Yeah? Where the most successful plant-based meat alternatives are produced, ironically, within the traditional industrial meat industry themselves, because they practice corporate cannibalism. And corporate cannibalism is maybe the most adventurous innovation strategy you can imagine. When you practice corporate cannibalism, you look the biggest risks or sources of uncertainty for your industry straight in the eyes, and secretly you're going to create these alternatives for your industry yourself. That's what it means. I would take you to Copenhagen, where you can talk to your sprouts in a human language, sprouts while they are still growing under monochromatic LED lights, maybe in the basement of your neighbor, while they will be on your dish, on your plate the day after. And if we talk and think about vertical cyber farms, we also have to be aware of something else on the other side of the spectrum, which you can consider as endless picking gardens, where food is grown in forests that are designed by humans, but that grow according to natural principles in 7 different layers. 3D farming, ladies and gentlemen. We can call this agroforestry. And these days, we see the emergence of a marine alternative of this. Mangrove forests that are, as we speak, grown all over China, coastal regions, China, Asia, where we can envision a new idea on food productions that we can call wild farming, where oysters, seafood, consumption fish and seaweed are grown in a free-range situation, and where we can harvest them in the near future with drones. We're going to hunt fish with submarine drones. That's the idea. Isn't that fun? If you think, well, that's a bit far-fetched, that's a bit crazy, I take you to Tevel iRobotics, where they do something very complex, where they use aerial drones to pick apples from trees. What is, if you think of it as a very complex activity, and if you think of this technology in a linear way, then maybe you see and envision a future where we're going to harvest seafood with drones, and where the traditional contradiction between nature and agriculture is absorbed. And that's what I want to share with you today, ladies and gentlemen. The future is for those people who use creativity to absorb traditional contradictions like the contradiction between ecology and ecology, nature and agriculture, high tech and craftsmanship, biology and synthetic design. Yeah? I would also take you to Berlin, where you can find the very first autonomous forest. It's a forest that is managed by AI. The forest is a distributed autonomous organization that senses its growth autonomously, can make commercial transactions to sell timber or sell carbon credits autonomously, and that can autonomously make money and invest its money in new grounds to grow new forests. And it works. And imagine that Terra Zero will spend a wild, hot and steamy night with the many organizations these days that are building a worldwide wood, as we speak, a network of nature conservation organizations to address this 25% of dead land we have on this planet, to turn it into a new flourishing nature, all autonomously. Imagine that technology is to the rescue to turn nature into an autonomous entity that can grow in its own right. We might call it Nature 3.0. And at this very moment, I think we're at a historical moment in time where digital transformation is colliding with circular and regenerative transformation of our society, and both need each other to make this happen. That's why technology companies are collaborating with the construction industry to come up with a completely new urban fabric that consists of natural elements that work like a Meccano, like a Lego box that is designed for assembly and disassembly, and that enables us to produce the urban fabric of the future with natural components, timber-based and bio-based. And then the circle is round. That delivers a new perspective for agriculture, for not only producing food, but producing the crops that will lead to new generations of building materials, ironically helping both agriculture and the construction industry to become carbon neutral or carbon poor. My personal story starts here, ladies and gentlemen. This is my desk. I take you to March 2020. At this very moment, every time that my cell phone in my pocket was buzzing, I knew this is a client that will cancel a project, a workshop, or a lecture. And at this very moment, I felt how vulnerable I was myself as a one-man army, and how dependent I am of physical events like this one. So I had to steer and guide my obsession for sustainable innovation into the practice of writing a book. Pre-topia, I wanted to write a book on solutions, and solutions only that exist at different places in the world that are screaming for entrepreneurs to make it happen elsewhere as well. So yeah, I work on the overlay of foresight, innovation and sustainability for a big diversity of clients, going from International Dance Festival, Tomorrowland, to Buyle, the manufacturer of carpets, household goods, the beauty industry, and so on. And the interesting thing of doing that is that you can open doors and windows to let inspiration flow in and go from one industry to the other. And that is where magic really happens. Let's talk about energy. Let's talk about energy and the real crisis we are in. At this very moment, more people than ever know that a world of B is possible. A world of B that is powered by renewable energy that is accessible for everyone. That is something that we are able to create. And more people are aware that this will never happen with the principles of the world of A, the world we are in now. The principles, not only the principles, also the infrastructures, the economical logic and the ideas of the world of A. It is never going to happen. So what we did, commissioned by the Dutch government, was imagineering what the principles of B would be. And in a world of B, the entire world is powered by renewable. Everything we do on energy infrastructure leads to balance instead of congestion. We have a positive relation with our environment and so on. And we brought these principles of the world of B to the Ministry of Energy and Environment, Ministry of Internal Affairs, the netbeheerders, the infrastructure companies like Stedin and Exis Leander. And their answer was so surprising. Their answer was, oh my God, this is the relation that people want to have. This is the new relation that people want to have with energy. We want this relation too. We also want this world of B. But we are going to explain to you what the challenges really are. And if you can help us tackle these challenges, maybe this world of B is possible. And the 4 challenges are, in the world of B, regulation needs to create more liberty and freedom on the infrastructure instead of less freedom. Yeah? In a world of B, every player on the energy network has to contribute to balance instead of net congestion. We need a positive relation to our environment. And last but not least, we need an idea on how to collaborate on the very scarce surface we have in the Netherlands. Yeah? This is what we have to do. And the energy sector should not be about selling more. We have to create more value by selling less. So the market will be more about assets, energy assets, instead of energy consumption. Now, these 4 challenges are the 4 areas of a Transform Hackathon we will throw in the end of the month. We invite 250 technologists to really enjoy creating this Internet of Energy, this totally new energy infrastructure to really tackle the challenges of the 21st century. Well, this is an example. But it is an example of a philosophy on how to think of the future that we see emerging in each and every industry. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Think of the internet. The internet didn't rise up because of a global protest against the telefax. Yeah? That's not how it happened. It happened because a small group of people were aware of a totally new way of deploying technology. And that's what we have to do with energy, with food production, and the many other industries to turn it into something sustainable. This very distributed logic and way of thinking we see in every industry. Take something like building buses. The manufacturer of buses who manufactures buses and distributes them all over the world. If you look at how arrival is imagineering the future of bus manufacturing. They think of micro factories with the scale of 4 tennis courts that they're going to position in the suburban area of cities, and that will assemble, repair, and service electric buses very near, anticipating to local demands, and produce that way and service the buses that will transport people and parcels all over the city. We see it in the production of milk, where the new generation of milk producers think of microorganisms who are going to change fresh mown grass into casein. Casein is the protein you need to produce milk and cows, and who are exploring a way to find the ultimate microbial mix to do this without the help of a cow. And this technology they can distribute all over the world, that all over the world people can produce milk and cheese based on their local and traditional preferences, but by technology. I am convinced that biology is the new ICT. Yeah? That nature is the next operating system, and that microorganisms such as algae, yeast, and bacteria are the new microfactories and are the new apps. And the interesting thing is that if you look at ICT and the rise of ICT in the 80s, the 90s, and the years 2000, that was dominated by men. If we look at the pioneers and the people who are leading the new industrial wave, which we can call biology or synthetic biology, we see that this scene is dominated by women, just to give you an example. Good, I'm going to skip this. No, I'm not going to skip it. This is our strategy that we use to help our clients turn their sustainable ambitions into reality in a fast way. It starts with a what-if question. It starts with an attractive and connecting vision of the future. An attractive and connecting vision of the future, it's so much stronger than numbers or statistics or rational arguments. You will need an attractive vision of the future because you are going to create a coalition of the willing. Among your suppliers, clients, people in your industry and out of your industry, you're going to create a coalition of the willing that shares a big ideal on the future to make this future really happen. And as soon as possible, you will have to practice prototyping, provocative prototyping. You are going to translate your vision of the future into something visible, something tangible. You're going to translate it into an experience so that people can experience it and respond. That people can say, yes, I want this too. People can say, no, I hate it. Other people will say, I can do this better. Other people will say, I did this before. Other people will say, I want to join your coalition of the willing. That's exactly the upward positive dynamic that you can create by taking your sustainability ambitions as soon as possible out of the meeting room, because that's where they die. Yeah? And turn them into something real, something tangible, something that people can relate to, something that your people, your employees can say, this is my project. And I am proud of it. And last but not least, especially in Flanders, we have to learn how to celebrate it. Celebrate every single small step towards sustainability. If you celebrate it, we have a party. And if there is a party, there is applause for everyone. My time is over. I'm going to take 1, 2, or maybe 3 minutes more, just because I can. I have to take you to our most popular clients. It's among some, it is the most beautiful export product we have in Belgium. Others disagree completely. Yeah? I will take you to a place where every adult can be in connection with its inner child. I will take you to Tomorrowland. Yeah? And Tomorrowland is very interesting for me because Tomorrowland 15 years ago is not born as a sustainable festival. It didn't, yeah? And that's why it's very interesting, because if you think of how Tomorrowland can bring and contribute the best of it to the world we all want, we will find out that there are 3 ways you can green the festival, make the festival greener, and that's what they are doing. Of course, they do this. They are not the best, they're not the worst, they're somewhere in the middle. You can use the power of your brand to inspire youth with sustainability as the ultimate innovation adventure. Tomorrowland is the second biggest event in the world in social media after the Olympics, and it's even bigger than the Champions League. So think of what happens if they use the power of their brand to inspire the younger generation. And last but not least, you can consider a festival, a dance festival, as a pop-up city, as a living labo, an in vivo labo to experiment with the big and bold solutions for the 21st century challenges. That's why we threw what we called the biggest and the most beautiful stage for sustainability ever last summer, where I had the luck to program my own big international heroes to inspire people with sustainability. But at our drawing table, there are different concepts that we can demonstrate on the festival terrain, that we can explore interaction with people and with the crowd, that we can use as guinea pigs, concepts like the Internet of Energy, concepts like circular or pop-up architecture that produces algae in sunlight and emits light when we are in the dark, or that helps us producing algae-based hamburgers on the festival terrain, and the many, many, many other purposes. So think of it. When it comes to ICT, you can greenify ICT, and I think that's interesting. You can explore ways in how ICT can connect the dots and turn into new solutions to tackle 21st century challenges, and you can build coalitions of the willing to experiment with bold and wicked solutions in order to optimize them and make it better. Remember that the next big thing consists of the connection between a lot of small things. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you an inspiring day and evening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Stefaan Vandist. Really an eye for solutions, and we are pleased that he stated that ICT can really be an enabler for sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at the end of this ThinkThings Showcase event. There was one word that really, I think he pointed out, Stefaan Vandist, and it was energy. So maybe let's briefly, with three of my guests, discuss the hot topic energy. May I invite on stage Vincent de Clercq, Managing Partner at Octaplus, Sam de Vreene, Energy Director Europe and Blue Corner, and Sam Lodewijks, CEO of Augie.
Hello.
Hello, hello. It's a long way, but the way to sustainability and the whole storage and the journey for energy is also a long journey. So please make yourself comfortable. Take a seat. So maybe we can start with Vincent, Managing Partner at Octaplus. You've been introducing a project at the headquarters in Vilvoorde.
Yeah.
Also working and copying it at Marienbro, I've been told. So what is the project all about?
But Octaplus is a provider of electricity, gas and heating oil, but we must have a new strategy. We cannot sell only electricity and gas, but we have to have a project. And we built on our office in Vilvoorde solar panels, 50 solar panels with a production of 20 kilowatt peak on the roof. That's normal, but we coupled that with batteries of energies, and for a power of 40. And we have also EV charging systems for our EV and hybrid autos. And that's a system, and this system is managed by a smart platform. And why did we do that? Because we intend to reduce our cost of energy, like everybody, but also to reduce our carbon footprint, and also to add a new activity on our business. And so we develop in collaboration with those two guys, a new project in our office in Vilvoorde and in the coming month in Mariembourg also.
Yeah, and maybe a lot more copies will follow.
I hope so.
You were not on your own, eh? You did it in collaboration with other companies?
Absolutely. We did a collaboration with Blue Corner. Octopus was the owner of Blue Corner. That was 1 year ago. And we decided to sell Blue Corner because Blue Corner has the ambition to develop Blue Corner in Europe. And so for us, Octaplus, it's a small provider of electricity and gas in Belgium. And we cannot develop everything in Europe. So we decided to sell that, but we have a collaboration with Blue Corner, and that's great.
Yeah, so really focusing on the core business, but of course, being supported by companies. Sam de Vrenne, could you then maybe explain briefly to us what the role of Blue Corner is?
Well, Octaplus was a very interesting case. Octaplus had a problem, and the current grid connection was no longer sufficient for adding EVs. In the past, the grid connection was sufficient for doing the business. So the heating of the building, the operation of the building, that was okay. But by adding EVs, the grid connection was no longer sufficient. So they had two choices, or doing an upgrade of the grid, meaning installing a larger transformer, or the other solution was actually doing the things smart by doing energy management. And this is actually what we did, adding PV, adding a battery, and doing smart charging.
Mm-hmm. Well, very interesting. Can we summarize then what the purpose really is?
Well, yes, that's charging when the energy is available, and or charging at a profitable moment. So not when the energy prices are too high, but really at low cost, but by preference with local green energy.
Okay, so then I would like to know, let's have a look at Augie. Yeah, what are you up to? What can you add to what we have been discussing?
Yeah. So as Augie, you kind of can see us as a master of orchestration of the energy system. The energy system of the future is a green energy system, and the only way that it will actually run is when you balance demand and supply. When there's a lot of wind, a lot of solar, you have to make sure that there's consumers that consume that. If you can do that, you can have a very cost-effective system out there, which is now not the case. So that's our key role. So what we do in the project is we forecast demand and supply, and we look at the flexibility of the charge poles, of the batteries, potentially the solar, other sources. And we make sure that we consume as much as possible green energy when there is green energy. We make sure that the capacity is minimized. And when the prices are, as Sam said, low, we also try and charge as much as possible. And we feed in the grid with the battery when the prices are high. So that's, in summary, what we do there.
Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, we have been talking a lot about the future. Vincent, maybe you have some future ideas, innovations?
Yes.
I'm sure you...
Yes, sure. In the electricity world, there are many objectives and development. So there are three main issues in the future. That's the dynamic pricing. For the moment, everybody buys electricity on an hourly price or peak price or off-peak price. But in the coming month, we are going to sell electricity with a different price every quarter of an hour. Every 15 minutes, the price is different. And so that's a big difference in the future, and that's a big development for everybody, for the companies also. And that's the aim of the combination of the solar panels and also the batteries. When the electricity is cheap, you can buy during the night, for example, you can bring the electricity to the batteries to stock the electricity. And for instance, if the electricity is very expensive, you can use the electricity in the batteries and sell the electricity to the grid. So the batteries are very important. That's the first one. The second one is the energy sharing system. In the future, you can have a house in Brussel, in Belgium, and another house at the sea, and you can share your energy. So you can produce in a building, in a house, and you can use your energy on a place. That's also a revolution for the electricity world. And the third one is the capacity tariff. So every companies will pay more and more, but they will pay more if the energy within 15 minutes very high is. That's the peak. And so the price of the electricity grid for you will depend on the peak demand on 15 minutes. And so those three evolutions are very important for us. And the reason for this project is to develop those three possibilities for our existing customers, but prospect also.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because we are only at the beginning of the big energy transition at Octaplus. Yeah, how do you see this evolution?
Well, the energy transition has started only. We are at the early beginning. There is a lot to do to get rid of fossil fuels. And mobility is an important aspect because mobility is a big consumer of energy and that needs to be electrified. If we electrify mobility, that has an important stress on the existing infrastructure, on the grid. But that's as well a solution because the electrical cars, they come with a battery and that battery is used for mobility but can be used for helping stabilizing the grid. And when there is not enough energy, they supply energy. When there is too much energy, they store the energy. And there is actually where the technical innovations like vehicle-to-grid comes in, ISO 15118, but that's really the innovations which are ready today. So the new charging infrastructure of us supports this. But that's the what. We work as well in the innovation about the why, about the business models. So we're not only about the technology, we're really innovating on the business models. And that's actually taking the opportunities of the energy market to create new sustainable business models because we want to make sure that everyone can afford an electrical car.
Yes, especially with all the green deals coming up. And are we ready yet? Well, yes. We are at the beginning of a long journey. At Augie, yeah, hearing all these challenges, what do you think? Because I see that you're really enthusiastic and nodding yes, and time's almost up. So could you please enlighten us and tell us your vision? Or?
No, surely. I mean, about 10 years ago, my background is coming also from telecommunication, from internet. And all the innovation that come from that sector, it was clearly obvious that they needed to be also ported to this sector. Right? So the element of having kind of traditional big supplies, gas power plants, nuclear power plants, that's going to be completely phased out. We will have a system where everyone will have panels, solar panels, whatever. Everyone will be a small producer. And as Vincent said, can actually sell it. So if I have a little bit too much, I could say, Vincent, do you want a small deal? Yes, I want a small deal. So suddenly the system becomes an internet of energy. So we're gone with traditional pure energy player. We can actually even make a deal. I want to transact my solar panels into kind of a coffee or whatever. Right? So you can make a completely new system which becomes an experience and yet is green and sustainable. And to make that happen, you need digital systems like what we do. So I'm obviously extremely excited that we're working on these partners like that.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Well, it's very, very interesting, and I think that we can have a whole event just about this topic. If you could share just one more message with the audience, one key trend, one fact, something that they really should keep in mind, start doing tomorrow. Vincent, what would it be?
Every company or everybody must invest in solar panel, but not only in solar panel, because many investment in solar panel will bring some problems on the grid, on the electric grid. And so the EV chargers, the vehicles are one of the solutions, but the batteries also. And so we must build together a better grid without any problems of breakdown. And that's the aim of everybody, and everybody must invest in a whole solution, in an energy management system.
Okay, yes, I think that's already a good message. From Blue Corner, what would you like to share?
Well, I want to add two things. The first is actually there is no reason today to not go for an electrical vehicle. And the second is EVs are part of the ecosystem. EVs will be part of the solution with their battery. And actually, we have to take that opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And then some from Augie. Yeah, the final message you would like to share?
Okay, maybe sharing is caring. So as opposed to putting your money on the bank, put it in kind of small assets in the energy system, share your energy and make a greener and sustainable world locally ourselves.
Yes, okay, so EVs are here to stay. We need to share energy. Thank you, gentlemen. We can give them a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing these thoughts and insights. And as I said before, energy is a hot topic, especially when it comes to mobility, but also very nice to see that ICT can once again be an enabler. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this means that we are quite at the end of this very, very lovely showcase event. I hope we shared a lot of thoughts, that you have a lot of information in your mental goodie bag. I think we saw a lot of opportunities, a lot of challenges. So maybe to summarize it all, I would like now give the floor to Anne-Sophie Lodewing. She's the Chief Enterprise Market Officer Proximus, and she will share with us some closing words.
Thank you very much, Virginie, and good evening, everyone. For those of you who are still left in the room, thank you very much for staying till the bitter end. I'm very happy to share with you a few closing remarks. So I'm sure that there's been a lot of content that's been brought upon you, but our ambition for today was to make sure that we were able to delight you, but also maybe make you think and dream about what technology can already do today, how it can influence your business models of today, but also your business models of tomorrow. We've had 350 to 400 people actually listening to this event through live streaming. There was a number of you, actually more than 400 customers present. Our partners were here as well, and I think we have to say we had some excellent speakers. Hopefully, through all of those different use cases, we've been able to showcase that we continue in investing. We continue in investing in our connectivity, whether 5G or fiber, to make sure that we're able to support your business models moving forward. But also, we're investing in areas such as cloud, workspace, IoT, security, so that we're also able to provide you with a holistic customer value proposition. We believe that we can only do this in an ecosystem of partners and a wide range of experts, and you all met them in the marketplace. We truly believe that being able to work on use cases together, from co-innovation at the beginning to making sure that we're building those projects and then implementing them, is absolutely key. And we had so many testimonials here today. When I try to think about everything that I've heard, my mind is a bit of a blur, but a few came out that I thought I would just quickly highlight. Through 5G, we're already demonstrating how we can use drones to do inspections in the port of Antwerp. We also saw that thanks to 5G, we were able to provide connected ambulances through UZ Brussels, but also provide a unique multimedia experience with 11 sports. We were also able to showcase with two very different customers, Argenta on the one hand, but DPG Media on the other, how we're also able to, either through a managed security services contract or through a manage and detect and response offering, able to not only prevent, but also counter-attack some of the cyber attacks that might happen. This event, of course, would not have been possible with the speakers, but also with you attending and with a great team that's been organizing this. I also want to thank our host, Virginie, for having done a great job, as well as Alex. And I really warmly invite you to go to the marketplace, have a glass of well-deserved something, whatever beverages of your choosing. And I really hope you had an amazing time. Thank you all so very much for coming, and I will see you back there. Thank you all.
Proximus. Think possible.